everybody. Hello, good afternoon. Can everybody hear? I'm having way too much fun, I think.
I can hear you loud and clear.
I gotta mute my YouTube. Okay. Oh, geez. Listen, we have been so prepared today, so ready. Got the video preloaded and everything else, and we're ready to go. Or the transcript preloaded. Uh, so, as is usual for me, a lot of times I decide, not at the last minute, but I decide when I really don't have the time to do it. I decided to try to do something for visuals today. And Cherie actually did all the work, but now I just can't figure out how to get them shared. But that's all beside the point. Today we're going to present to you the a false start stream. Oh, I don't know. Liam, listen, I don't know what's happening. Anyway, so we recorded the trial transcript, and so we can just play that for you, and then we can just interact or answer questions or make comments in the chat as the video is showing. I feel like that's for me, that's a lot easier. So that's what we're going to try to continue to do from now on, and hopefully everybody else finds some benefit in that as well. So I want to thank Richard from Off Label Podcast again for helping us read. He did two parts yet when we recorded. He did the part of the court, and he also did the part of defense attorney Scott Adams. Sometimes the two will have to speak to each other, but he did a really good job, hopefully making the difference so that you could, understand one from the other. Second thing is, this has never happened in all of the years that I've been doing this, recording and whatnot. But for whatever reason, it seems like my part of the recording, I read the part for Rosetta Grate, and I don't understand it. I don't know what happened. I'm going to have to ask Richard when he's available to help me with this, because it's never happened before. But as I'm editing, I realize that before an attorney can finish a question, my voice is coming in and answering the question before they've even finished it. It's really bizarre, but I wasn't able to edit that, because then you'll see, you'll understand when you start listening. It feels like I had some sort of compression going on or something. I don't know with my mic or what it was, or if it was through OBS. I don't know. But hopefully, again, it's never happened before. So I'm pretty sure that, yes, schizoid readings, no freaking doubt, Liam. So hopefully, I know Richard will be able to help me figure that out and understand what happened this time, and we'll make sure it doesn't happen again. So it does, it actually, because of that, the video, it's only about 20 or so minutes long anyway. It started out about 26 minutes long, the actual recording. And because I think because of my voice jumping in ahead of the attorney's questions, I don't know. Listen, it's just going to be interesting. So just sit back, listen, enjoy, ask all the questions you want. And Cherie and I will be available in the chat to help with that. Before I get started, though, I do want to say hello to everybody quickly for being here. I really appreciate you guys for showing up and giving us some support. Yeah, Voice, let me see if Voice is okay. So I don't know if Voice is going to be here. I know he's got a lot going on, but he said he had a lot more fun reading this time, and we're going to get some other people involved and hopefully get some the theatrics, so to speak, going, and I think it'll sound perhaps more like a courtroom. We'll see. So hello to Louis BD, a new friend of mine from, I don't know if it's Canada. I'm not really sure now. I feel really bad. I can't remember. But hello, Louis. It's great to see you here. And Liam, love having you in the chat, Liam. You're always so quick with your wit and your jokes and your serious facts too. So thank you so much. And let's see, who else am I missing? So far, I think that's, oh, yay, we got, let's see, we have under schizo readings. Yes, schizo readings, schizoid reading. It could be entertaining. I think it might be a little entertaining. Under your scars, it's so great to see you. Thank you for always being here. I really appreciate you and your support. And yes, Lewis is from Canada. So thank you for clarifying. And Joffrey, it is so great to have you here again, Joffrey. And we really appreciate your support. And I know that every time you're able to, that you will be here to support the channel and to support Daniel. So while we're thinking about it, go ahead if you haven't already, and all that YouTube stuff. Just like, subscribe, share, all those things. That would be really appreciated. I think the videos are getting out a little bit more, and I think that might be perhaps because we are, showing on streaming on Twitter as well. So we'll. I'm not really sure, and Muffin, it is so great to see you, Muffin Rando. Thank you for being here and supporting us. We really appreciate it. I'm not sure if Voice is actually here right now. He might be, but I'm not sure. Anyway, welcome to everybody. Also, if you are interested, Cherie and I are trying to work on some ideas for channel members. Right now, I suck at it because I don't know what to offer you guys. So if you can just, if you have ideas or something you'd like to see, if you're a member, something you'd like to see for members only, please let us know. You can either comment or you can email us, either, however you, or if you're in the Discord, you can, drop us a note in Discord. But yeah, the more support we can get for Daniel and getting his case out there, the better. I also want to say hello to, I lost him. Well, I didn't lose him, but Rick Donner. I was having a conversation with Rick a few days ago in a different Discord, and he wasn't aware. I think if I'm remembering correctly, he wasn't aware that I had a channel. And I don't know how, I can't remember how it came up in this conversation in the other Discord, but it turns out that Rick, through Uncuff the Innocent, perhaps other places as well, he knows a fair amount about Daniel's case already. So I told him, I'm going to have him on for an interview someday, just to see, his thoughts and his ideas. Rick's becoming a really good friend of mine, and I really think that it's always great to have other people that we, from other areas, from other perspectives of this case. It's always great to get those opinions and stuff. So someday we're gonna get Rick on the show. I hope. I think he said he would be willing to do that. So, yeah. So, with all that said, all that rambling, Cherie, would you like to take an opportunity to say anything?
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Inside the Conviction of Daniel Holtzclaw as we talk about Accuser Rosetta Grate.
Thank you. We had a good time recording yesterday. It's always a good time recording. I had to edit out a lot of me because y'all know me. I'm mouthy and spicy and, whatever. But I did leave in one part that I thought was going to be fun for everybody. So with all that said, we will let you guys see what we have done with this preliminary transcript.
Seventh Judicial District of Oklahoma, transcript of preliminary hearing had on the 18th day of November, 2014 for the Honorable D. Fred Doak, Special Judge.
The state may call its next witness.
State calls Rosetta Grate. Wait, stand right here. Can you stand up right there?
Have a seat there in the witness chair, if you would please, ma'am. Sit where you can face toward the lectern out there in the middle of the room there. That's where the attorney will stand and ask you some questions.
Okay.
We'll give you just a moment to get settled. And when you are ready, would you please tell me your name?
Rosetta Renee Grate.
Would you spell your middle name for me?
R-A-N-E-E.
Ma'am, you can move the microphone just out a little bit from you. You're speaking very nicely. I appreciate that. Thank you. Miss McConnell, you may inquire.
Thank you, Judge. Will you tell me how old you are, Miss Grate?
38.
38? And I want to talk to you about April 24th, 2014, okay?
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. On April 24th, 2014, did you come into contact with an Oklahoma City police officer?
Yes, ma'am.
Where were you whenever you came into contact with him?
On 14th, Northeast 14th and Jordan.
That in Oklahoma
Yes,
County?
ma'am.
And what had you been doing?
I had been relapsing and getting high off of crack cocaine.
And whenever you made contact with this police officer, were you by yourself or with
By
other
myself.
people? And how did the officer make contact with you?
He was approaching me from westbound. I was facing northbound. I was facing south.
Was he on foot or in a car?
In a car.
And was he by himself or with other officers?
By himself.
What did his car look like?
Black, all black with white lettering.
Like one of the newer police cars?
Yeah.
Whenever he made contact with you, did he say anything to you?
When? What am I doing? What am I doing?
That's what he asked you?
Yes.
And what did you tell
I was a
him?
nervous wreck. And so I was relapsing. I told him I was relapsing, and I didn't have no business off over here anyways. And go ahead.
After you told him that, what did he do?
He searched my little black, I have a purse and found my crack pipe and then.
Found your crack pipe?
Yeah.
And was that in your purse?
Yes.
What did he do after he found your crack pipe?
What did you say?
What did you do after he found your crack
pipe? I was
pipe?
babbling on because, I was still nervous about it. I shouldn't have been over there and stuff like that. And he was just steady watching, like, kind of like looking around,
Did he give your crack pipe back to you or did he do something else with it?
I remember it was broken up. I think he asked me to throw it, I believe. It was thrown down on the ground. I think I threw it.
So in any case, it was broken? Okay. Did he offer to give you a ride?
Yes, he did.
Okay. And did you accept that ride? Where did you ask him to take you?
633 Culbertson Drive.
Is that in Oklahoma County?
Yes.
And was that the place that you were living at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you live there by yourself or with other people?
I lived there with my man.
With
my boyfriend at the time.
And what's his name?
Will Carter.
And did the officer take you there? And what happened after you got there?
Well, we got out the car when he opened up the back door and I got out and I was like, well, where's my purse at, And he was like, you don't have it. And then he checked back in his front seat and was like, really? And I was like, no, because I remember he set it on top of the car and he was like, I'll go back and get it. And I was like, don't even worry about it. It's not going to be there. It's a drug area. Just don't worry about it. I'm just trying to depart and separate from him.
So whenever you got to the house, that's when you discovered that your purse was missing? Okay, what happened after
Then I
that?
started walking towards the door and he was walking with me. And at first it was odd, but I wasn't going to question him, I didn't, and
Sure.
because I knew I was still in the wrong, of just being in, I guess, the area.
Let me ask you, Miss Grate, have you encountered police officers before?
Yes.
Okay, have you ever received rides from them to your home?
One received a ride to detox off of the northwest side, and then the other one took me to my brother's from 11th and Penn.
But was getting rides something that was normal for police officers to give
Yeah,
you?
it wasn't normal, but I didn't feel that I would be a threat. I didn't feel threatened. I didn't feel like it was something wrong.
Okay, whenever you get to your house, was it normal for a police officer to kind of escort you to your front
No.
door?
Did
But you told me
okay.
earlier.
Can you re-ask that question?
Sure. Was it normal for a police officer to escort you to your front
No.
door?
Now, that's when my spirit was like, something is just strange about that.
Did he go inside the house with you?
Yes. When he came to the door, I was like, because it's in the big house additions, and I'm out there looking homeless. So I thought maybe he thought, did I live in this big home? It was, so when I opened up the door, I said, this is the living room. And so that's what I thought, that's what came to me. And I started thinking, I was like, this is the kitchen. Did I really live there? Because, and then.
So you thought that the reason he was coming in was to make sure that this was actually your home?
Yes.
And you kind of started showing him around? Was there anyone else in the house whenever you got there?
No, Will wasn't there.
Is this a one-story or a two-story house?
Two-story.
So where did you go once you got in the house?
So we walked in and I said, like, this is a room. This is the kitchen. And then when you go the stairs to separate, or not the kitchen, the dining room. And then when you walk to the other room, the stairs that go upstairs separate you from the kitchen. So I was like, that's the kitchen. And then that was like my second relapse. So and I went from living in Will's room to the room next door. So I just wanted to make sure he'd seen my bed, to make sure, my room,
And let me understand.
Okay.
Let me interrupt you,
Okay.
Miss Grate. Did I understand you correctly when you said that your bedroom was an upstairs part of the house?
Yes. There's 4 bedrooms, 2 with beds.
Okay, but your bedroom was in the upstairs part?
Yes, it's all upstairs. All the bedrooms are upstairs.
Okay, I understand. And he followed you up the stairs to your bedroom?
Yes. Or he followed me upstairs, because I was still showing. And then I was like, this is Will's room. And then I was like, Will got mad. So now I'm sleeping in this room. And then that's the end of the showing, because at that point is when he interrupted me.
Okay, and what happened when he interrupted you?
He was like, go ahead and have a seat. And he was like, this is, better than the county. He was preparing himself.
And you said he told you to have a seat? Where did he tell you to have a seat?
On my bed.
Okay, what happened after he said this is better than county?
He was preparing himself. He was unzipping his pants to pull out his malehood.
Okay, and did he expose his penis to you? And you said he was unzipping his pants. Did he take his pants down? Okay, so did he pull his penis through his fly?
Yes.
What happened after that?
So I started performing.
What do you mean by that, Miss Grate?
I gave him oral sex.
Okay, so his penis went into your mouth? Were you still sitting on the bed whenever that happened? And where was he?
Standing up in front of me.
Okay.
I sat down like this, and he was standing in front of me.
Okay. Did he have his gun on when that was happening?
Yes. His gun, that was all that was still there close to my face.
So you saw it while you were, how long did that last?
Roughly about maybe 10 minutes, because then he wanted to have sex at that point. So he told me to lay back and.
So did you lay back on the bed that you were sitting on? What did he do after you laid back?
Got on top of me and inserting himself inside of me.
So he put his penis in your vagina?
Uh-huh.
Was that a yes or a no, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
Whenever he put his penis in your mouth, Ms. Grate, did he ejaculate?
Inside my mouth, no.
Whenever he put his penis inside your vagina, did he ejaculate at that
I
time?
want to say that he did because afterwards when I wiped, I wasn't for sure because I wasn't for sure because he didn't make no sounds or nothing. And I just wasn't for sure. It was a real intense, but when I wiped later, I believe that, maybe pre-cum, I'm pretty sure, there was some fluid transfer.
Okay, and how long did the sex
I want to
last?
say probably another 10 minutes.
What made it stop?
I think because he was kind of looking out because my bedroom is above the front lawn and maybe he was looking out. Maybe he got nervous. I don't really know. I could see he was looking like out the window and then back at me at that point.
So did he leave immediately from your house after that stopped, or did he stay for a
No,
while?
he immediately left. He got up and zipped up his...
You had told me that you had wiped yourself.
Yes.
Did you do that right after he left or around that time period?
Yeah, I grabbed this rag and wiped it, and my closet was right in front of me, and I just threw it right back in the closet.
Bedroom closet where you had
Yes.
been? Had you ever been stopped by this officer before, Miss
No,
Grate?
not to my knowledge.
Did you tell anyone what had happened to you?
Yes.
Who did you
I
tell?
told my man when he came home because I had already, we'd already been arguing, and that was my reason, that's why I was there, because I definitely didn't want to go back outside. And then later on, I told my father, and
You told me, you told your man. Did you tell him that same night?
same. It wasn't even that much longer before he got back there.
Did you call the police that
No.
night? Why didn't you call the police?
Because I'm in a drug program and I knew I was relapsing and I'm, sell my body. So I don't know. It's just
Did you
something
think-
I don't know. I was scared, because I was still going through, a man at that point, some arguing, it just intensified everything. I didn't really know what to do, to be honest with you.
Did you ever see the officer again after this?
Wednesday, I was walking down Highland off of Northeast Highland, and I relapsed again. And he told me, and me and a friend of mine was walking, and as I was about to start walking towards his house, the police officer and friend with the same kind of car was like, "Wait," and I was like, "Oh my God." And I was like, "I know you." I'm trying to act like I'm not seeing him, because I couldn't believe. He was like as if it was some friend or something of mine. And so I was trying to play it off and still walk towards the back. And he stopped and put on his brake and he was still looking. I could see out my peripheral vision that he was still looking, and stuff. And so went into the back house and went around the block a lot. He was circling. It was for a minute, and then when I seen the coast was clear, I ran off.
Well, Your Honor, may I approach?
You may.
Miss Grate, I'm handing you what's been marked as States Exhibit 6 and 7. Will you take a look at those and tell me if you recognize them?
Yes, that's my home, and
Are they a fair and accurate depiction of your home and your room as you remember them from May of 2014?
Yes, except there was a dresser there. There was a dresser there, too. There was a dresser.
Okay. Was the furniture different? Your Honor, I move to admit States Exhibits 6 and 7.
No objection. The State 6 and 7 are admitted without objection.
May I approach the witness again, Your Honor?
You may.
Miss Grate, I think you were telling me that States Exhibit 6 was your home for May of 2014.
Witness nods.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, is that the home where the officer took you?
Yes, ma'am.
And in States Exhibit 7, you had told me, I think it was your bedroom.
Yes, that's...
And you had told me that there was a dresser in the bedroom. Is the bed still in the same place?
Yeah, the bed is still in the same place, and that's the closet right there.
Is that the bed where you were sitting on?
Yes.
Okay, and this chair, was that there at the time?
No, that chair, no. The dresser was right here, and the chair was turned around the other way. It was turned around the other way.
Okay, this officer that you talked about, Ms. Grate, do you see him in the courthouse today?
Yes.
Can you tell me where he's seated and what he's wearing?
All black tuxedo, or not tuxedo.
Is he to your left or to your right?
I left.
Okay, and there is 3 men sitting here with suits. If there is a man who is furthest away from the judge and a man...
Let's just wait until she asks a question.
Okay, I apologize.
I'll start again, Ms. Grate. If there is a man who is furthest away from the judge and a man in the middle and a man who is closest to the judge, which one is different? Oh, which one is the officer? Excuse me.
Okay. Will you read that again, Cherie? Sorry.
The whole
Which
thing?
one is different? What?
This isn't Sesame Street.
Oh, come on. I'll start over again, Ms. Grate. If there's a man who is furthest away from the judge and a man in the middle and a man who is closest to the judge, which one is the officer?
Closest to the judge.
Your Honor, may the record reflect identification of the defendant as the officer who stopped Ms. Grate on April 24th, 2014.
Record will reflect so.
May I have a brief moment?
Yes, ma'am.
And I may have asked you this, Ms. Grate. I'm sorry, the house that you told me that the officer took you to where you were living in April of 2014.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember talking to me about
Yes,
that?
ma'am.
That in Oklahoma County?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness.
Cross-examine. Miss Grate, let's kind of get a timeline of how all this came about. You state this happened in April of 14, correct?
April 2014.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Okay. First time you talked to any law enforcement was August of 14, correct?
I'm not sure exactly I don't know if it was August or September. Okay, it was probably August, the end of courts. I mean, I was incarcerated August 26th, so somewhere shortly after I was incarcerated. I'm not sure because...
Where were you located when you first talked to law enforcement about these alleged events?
Oklahoma County Jail.
In fact, what had happened is you got revoked on some paper time you were on, correct? Or you got arrested?
Yes.
You were in Oklahoma County Jail?
Yes, sir.
And you had 6 prior felony convictions.
I'm on a drug program. Yes.
You were in drug court?
I'm in a drug program. Yes, I have.
You were in drug court, correct?
Yes.
Were you in drug court?
No, I'm not. Have I been in there previously?
Yes.
Yes, I've been in drug court previously.
And so why were you in jail in August of 2014?
From a violation of probation from not attending my classes for my drug program at North Care.
Okay. And you were in jail and you were approached by some detectives, correct?
Yes.
And that's the first time you ever told this story, correct?
No.
That's the first time you ever told this story to law enforcement?
No.
When's the first time you ever told this story you testified here today to law enforcement?
In July, I had gotten incarcerated in July, and the 2 ladies that work in the receiving, one of them actually approached me. One of them is Tisdale and another lady, and they both approached me because I was yelling that this officer had raped me and all that. She's like, I thought you was playing. She just brought that to my remembrance not even that long ago. So they remember that from previous incarceration before they had even come to talk to me. There are 2 ladies, Tisdale and another officer right now. They was working before I believe I came over here this morning or yesterday morning.
Who does Tisdale work for?
Oklahoma County.
The Oklahoma County Sheriff?
The county jail. Yes. Is that the sheriff's? Yes, sir. Tisdale and another lady. They both work receiving together.
And do you remember the other lady's name?
No, she always had those little e-cigarettes. They'll know. Just once you talk to Tisdale, they work together all the time. I've never seen them not work together. Okay. They're a team.
So did Tisdale and this other lady, are they the ones that notified Oklahoma City Police?
I have no idea who notified Oklahoma City Police about the situation.
Now, when you were interviewed in August, you told the detectives you've been arrested multiple times, correct?
I don't remember if they asked me that question. I don't remember just that question in particular. I apologize. I don't remember, but if they had asked me, I would have told them. It's not something I would have hidden or anything. I don't know. Right now, I don't know.
And then you were a prostitute and you had been convicted of that.
I've engaged in lewd acts, prostitution. Yes, twice.
Did you tell them that?
I don't know if that's brought up. I'm sure I did if they asked me. I don't remember if they asked me that specifically, but
Do you recall telling them that you had a drug problem for approximately 9 years?
yes, I have. I picked up in 2005. Yes, that does sound like.
And then you're currently AWOL from the drug program. Do you recall telling them that?
Yes, I goes with everything. Yes, I told them that.
And do you recall telling them that back in April of 14 that you were walking home hoping that you'd get a date so you could make some money?
Yes.
Now, has anyone offered you anything or promised you anything from government at all in regards to your current charges?
Any promises like
Offered you a
no,
deal?
I'm currently still incarcerated and no, I'm incarcerated. I don't have no deal.
So, have you ever asked anyone from the government, whether it be the DA's office or Oklahoma City Police Department, am I going to get any benefit out of testifying against Officer Holtzclaw or words to that effect?
No, I haven't asked for no benefit from if I'm testifying. I mean, there is really no benefit in my situation. I'm in a drug program and it's either I do the drug program, or I go to prison.
So, your answer to my question is you have not asked for any leniency whatsoever in regards to testifying.
No, I
in
have
this.
not specifically asked anyone for any leniency.
Have you unspecifically asked for it?
You said what?
Have you asked for it in any way, shape, or
No.
form? Okay. Passing the witness, Your Honor. Redirect?
May I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
No redirect, Your Honor.
Miss Grate, you've told me about the things that went on upstairs in your bedroom when you were sitting on the bed and the officer was up there with you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you want to do these things with him?
No.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Will the state have any further questions within the scope of the court's inquiry?
Yes, Your Honor. Why did you do those things, Ms. Gray?
It was either that or the county jail.
Is that what he told you?
Yes. Yes.
I'll pass the witness.
Mr. Adams? No, Your Honor. Miss Grate, this is all the questions we have for you at this time, ma'am. You can push the microphone aside where this is not in your way and step down. If you go with this officer right over here to the right, do what she tells you.
Thank you.
Okay. How much fun was that? That's insane. I don't know. Somehow I was hoping. Go ahead, Cherie.
I think it was, once you get used to it, I don't think it was, that big of a deal. You could understand most of it. A lot of times she repeats herself. Anyway.
That's true. Well, and let's just be honest. She did not make sense 99% of the time during that testimony. Oh my gosh, it was insane. So first thing I want to talk about before I want to go back through the chat and respond to some things, but the first thing I want to talk about is the end when Judge Doak, who was presiding over the preliminary trial or the preliminary hearing, pre-trial, whatever, so I had a major come apart when we recorded this because that was so infuriating to me and to Richard and Cherie. We all were like, what the hell? When the judge said, I mean, it's fine. Judges always will ask the witness something. I've seen it countless times. But when he then says to the prosecutor, do you have any questions or redirect basically, do you have any redirect based on the question that I just asked? And then she's like, oh yeah, I could just like see Lori McConnell's wheels turning like, oh shit, yes, I should have asked. And then she goes and asks the question. To me, Rick and Cherie, I believe, I can speak for them, we all kind of thought that was improper for the judge. If it was fine for him to ask the question, but then to coach the prosecutor to redirect her on that, I don't know. I'm just curious what other people think about that, because I was really upset by it. It really pissed me off. But it's, so I'm just curious if anybody else, if I'm wrong about that, if if others of you feel like that's something that's normal or common. I would love to see your comments.
I definitely thought it was improper, and I remember Richard being, I can't think of the word,
Surprised.
without words. Yeah, surprised, but just appalled.
Yeah, it was. It just seemed really, and y'all know how spicy and passionate I get. I was like, time out. What the fuck? I was like, wow, that he can't do that. So anyway, but I did cut all that out so you guys didn't have to be exposed to it. I just gave you the condensed version of how it actually went. So, all right, I'd like to kind of, well, you know what? Let me see if I can do this one thing first, and then we'll go back through the chat. I think I figured this out. We'll see if I can do it. Yes, I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. All right, y'all in the chat, let me know if you can see this when it pops up, if it pops up. All right, you should be able to see that. Let me go over to my YouTube and see if it's showing. I don't see it showing on my YouTube. Oh, here it comes. Oh, it is going to work. Okay, awesome. Okay, so we're going to go through, or I'm going to go through these slides with you guys. These are the, I believe most, if not all of the exhibit photos for, let's see how, I've never done this before, so I guess I need to go to the, okay. So this is, like I said, these are the exhibits for her trial. Now, this isn't trial transcript, but these are the photos that you guys are all going to want to see. So this is exhibit, I think Cherie was able to number all of the different exhibits. And I'm pretty sure she got them all in order. If there's anything out of order or mixed up, it's my fault. So this is just a video of inside the room, looking into Rosetta Grate's room. Doesn't look horribly bad there, right? I mean, it looks fairly decent, I guess. This is a picture of inside of her room, her bed. It's hard to know where this dresser was that she's talking about. We do see a dresser over here. I don't know if you guys can see there used to be a pointer in this program. I don't know. I'm sure it's still there, but I don't know where it's at. But anyway, there's a dresser here, but I don't feel like that's the dresser that I don't know. She doesn't make a lot of sense. So who knows? And then this is, from the head of the bed area, looking outside her bedroom door. And we're going to spend some time over here to the left in the closet. And Cherie, please jump in and comment. I can't see you right now because I'm trying to do the, advancing the different slides.
I'm good right now. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. And then this is just from the other side of the bed, looking out the bedroom door. And this is the closet over here. Barely you can see the bathroom. And this is the head of the bed right here. And it looks really weird because I've never had my bed away from my wall. But apparently this was the only place that there wasn't an empty wall, I guess, where they could put this bed. So they just put it here in front of this bookcase that's full of books and stuff over here. So the head of the bed isn't actually on the wall. Now, when you think back to the transcript, when we were reading, she talks about she thinks the reason that the officer stopped banging her was because he was looking out the window, out of the front of the window. Um, I think, whoops, I'm not sure if so. This is the head of the bed. She claims that he had her down here on the end of the bed, and we'll show a picture of that in a second too. But I don't know. I'm trying to get my bearings of because we've driven by this house. Cherie, we went to Oklahoma City not last summer, but the summer before, and we've driven by this house, and it's been kind of remodeled or something on the outside, so it didn't look exactly the same. I think Cherie might have a picture of it in here at the end, but anyway, so I don't know if she's thinking that he's looking out this window, if that's the front, or if it's over here and this is the front. I'm not really sure. Do you have any idea, Cherie, what it might have
No,
been?
I remember her saying at one point that she thought he might have looked out the window, but I don't think he could see what was going on, especially with that fan in the way and
Right.
at that distance.
Right. Yeah. Well,
Not leave the position he was allegedly in.
allegedly in, yeah. And that's just, and just as we're talking about these things, we know that she's lying. So I just don't want you guys who are watching and listening, I don't want you to think that we think there might be some truth to it. We're just trying to point out the reasons why, she's lying. Besides to us, the obvious. So there's two windows. I suppose he could have been looking out either of these because the chair and everything that she's talking about is going to be over here. But I like Cherie, I don't know. It's definitely questionable. So here is the chair. This is the chair, the big chair, the big part of this story is the chair. If you listen to her story now, Cherie, do you remember when these evidence photos were taken? I can't remember. I think the first, not too long.
You'd have to look it up. I'm not. It was soon after, I think, but I'll have to look.
Yeah, I believe it was within days of when she gave this information in that second interview in jail. And it's hard to say for sure because she's lies so effortlessly. But it's hard to say for sure what, how much truth, goes into the time from the last time she was in the room to when these photos were taken. So anyway, this is you'll hear about more in the trial, I'm sure. But during the videos, the jailhouse videos, she talks about this white comforter. I realize these are really poor quality pictures, but it looks like it was at one time a white comforter, but I don't know. It doesn't look all that clean and white to me, but it doesn't matter.
I highly doubt it was washed twice since the alleged incident, especially since she said, "Oh, and I haven't been back up there since." So.
Right, exactly. But yeah, she claims it's, and this is a horrible judgment for me to make, but I struggle. I don't wash my I don't wash my comforter very often at all. Number one, because I have to take it to a laundromat because it's so huge. And number two, I change it out. I'll not dry, but air it out outside, but nothing ever occurs on the comforter part of my bed. So when you look around at the rest of the room and particularly this closet that we're going to get to, washing a comforter twice in a few months period of time seems a little unlikely to me, but that's me being judgmental. So take that for what it's worth. Okay. So here's the bottom of the bed, obviously. Whoops. And here's the chair, the infamous chair. Now, she says this chair was turned around the other direction, the other way, when this alleged incident occurred. So there's the chair, and then here's the closet. I guess this is the dresser she talks about. I'm assuming. And this is a kind of a different angle of the chair and the closet. This is the bathroom. This looks like a shared bathroom now that I'm looking at it. Anyway, doesn't matter. This is the bathroom, but every time I look at this photo, I feel like there's some guy. I feel like that's some guy's head peeking out through right there. Anyway, so this is a closer picture of the closet. We're going to kind of zoom in on this stuff right here. And then while we're looking at this and while I'm pointing some things out to you, try to remember back to the jailhouse, the second jailhouse interview, when she gets very specific about certain items of fabric and things like that. So we're going to get a close-up of this picture. I think of all three of these, but this picture, and we're going to get a close-up of this one. And then when we get there, I'll explain to you what I think they are. I believe this was she talked about a pair of black panties, although I don't know. I doubt she was even wearing panties. She was a very active prostitute. I know that sounds disgusting, but because we drove this area of town, not this area where this house is, because this area where the house is, very nice area, very nice big homes, expensive homes, wealthier people live in that area for sure. But the area that she was picked up in was not. We've tried to describe these areas several times. It's unless you live in that area or you've been to that area. We were really surprised at how, I don't know the words I want to use, but dingy is a word that comes to mind, how dingy the neighborhoods were and small. The streets were so narrow. And then when you get a car parked on the street, which there's, several cars parked on streets. Anyway, the homes, not all of them, but a lot of the homes are very run down. And, the broken window kind of theory, I guess. It looks kind of like, that kind of an area where, the homes are run down, high crime, prostitution, drugs, gangs, and all that stuff. Anyway, so when I talk about her, I don't know why, but I feel like there's somewhere either in trial or deposition or something where she says that she wasn't wearing panties. And that's why I make that comment. Cherie, I don't know if you have a recollection of that or not, or
I can't remember if it was the first or the second interview at the jail, but she said, I think she said she can't remember what she was wearing, but probably a dress. I usually wear a dress, and I think she said I never wear panties. So there you go.
Yeah, thank you, because I'm pretty sure. Anyway, we believe that the little black panties that she mentions in the jail might have been that, but there's really no explanation that I've been able to find about what that is. This one, though, coming up, I definitely have a theory about. So remember when she says to the detectives in the jailhouse interview that after he finished, she wiped herself. Well, she has two different things about wiping. One part of the story, she kind of wipes her mouth with her hand and wipes it on the back of the chair. And the second story about wiping is she said she used a white towel that had like a blue stripe in it, kind of like and then I think one of the detectives suggests like a dish towel, and she's like, yeah, a dish towel. And so I think Cherie and I have kind of talked about that before, where I can remember when I was much younger, I remember my grandma having towels, very, very standard set of dish towels or kitchen towels that were like that. Just a plain white towel with a stripe, either a blue stripe, whatever color stripe it was. I remember those kinds of towels that my grandma had. So when she was saying that, I was like, okay, I remember a towel like that in my life. But then we see what we now know to be a disgustingly gross pair of uh, whitey tighties. Uh, and then there's this stripe thing that goes around the waistband. And it's hard to tell if that's a blue stripe stitching or whatever. We don't really know. But these underwear were tested, as were, if this is the black panties, they were tested. I don't know why. I don't know why they would have been tested if she wasn't wearing panties, but whatever. Um, but those underwear were tested. Everything that was collected in this room was tested forensically for DNA and, fingerprints and all the things. Nothing came back with any DNA of any kind whatsoever forensically to Officer Holtzclaw at all. Um, so this is another picture of the closet, whatever. And then a different angle of the closet, looking more inside to the closet, I believe is what it looks like to me. Close up, you can't really see. That just looks like a bunch of dirty, ratty, nasty clothes and something spilled over here. And I don't know. It's gross to me. This is that white comforter that she claims has been washed twice, but also very confusing. She says that she moved the comforter or pulled it up or something before he started having sex with her because she didn't want anything to get on it. So again, I don't know, whatever her stories are. Another angle of the bed and the comforter, the black chair. Who knows why that chair's there? It doesn't matter, but she allegedly wiped her mouth with her hand and then wiped it on the back of this chair that she said was turned around the other way. Why would you do that? I don't know why you would wipe your mouth and then wipe it on your hand on a piece of furniture. Makes no sense to me.
I was wondering, after she had them come back the second time, maybe she was dreaming that if she told them all this stuff, maybe they would let her, get out of jail quicker, and by the time they find out, that it's not there.
Yeah, she'll be gone. Yeah,
she's already out, but I don't know.
Well, and we know, and I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to show you this video. And if I can't show it for whatever reason that I'm struggling with, maybe next time, if I can't show this video later, maybe next time we, before we do the trial transcripts or something, I can show you this video. But anyway, so they didn't take the whole chair into evidence. Apparently, they just took it apart and took this part of the chair with them for evidence. I don't know why, but because she said she wiped her hand on the back of the chair that was turned the opposite direction. So I don't know, maybe that's why. And then these are some photos of, okay. This is the picture from Brian Bates' website of the picture of the house. And definitely a lot better than the evidence photos that they had. But we drove by this house. Oh, I think Cherie said she put a picture of that we took when we were there a couple of years ago. So she says during her preliminary testimony that her bedroom and the two exhibits that they talked about, I think it was exhibit 6 and 9 or something in the preliminary. I don't know where those photos are. I have no idea. This might be one of them, but as far as in the trial exhibits, I can't find those pictures she's talking about, numbered with 6 and 9. Anyway, from what I'm thinking that this must be her bedroom, because she said it was at her bedroom windows are at the front of the house. So if that's the case, then I'm just assuming that these are those two. No, because I don't see a fan, and there was only one window, right, with the fan, Cherie? Oh, I don't know. At any rate, these would be the only windows upstairs that anyone could have, that, this officer would have been able to see out.
There were two windows, but they weren't next to each other like those are.
Right. They
There
were
was
at the
one with the
corner.
fan, and then there was another one, but they were apart. A
Yeah,
couple
yeah.
feet apart.
And that's what I think is over here. Yeah, I'm really confused. Anyway, or is this the window with the fan? But then it can only be these two windows. So yeah, if what she says was true, then she thinks he stopped because, you know, she thinks that he saw Will come home or something. I mean, either one of those windows, if that's the windows, that's logical that he could have seen something if he was standing there banging her at the edge of the bed. I feel like singing a Shaggy song right now. Okay, this was the front door of the house from Bates' website. And then this is one of the pictures that Cherie took when we were driving by. I remember this guy I remember a lot of people standing outside of homes where we were driving by and just snapping pictures. We never stopped really anywhere and took pictures because it was it was like 115 degrees. So we very rarely stopped and got out and took any pictures. We just kind of took them as we were driving by. But I remember this guy. I was wondering, is he wondering, what the hell are these people, if he saw us? The hell are these people taking pictures of? Why are they? But anyway, this house has been remodeled, the front of this house, or this has been closed in now or something. This definitely looks a lot nicer. But again, these would be the two windows. No, that wouldn't, because the bed was actually between two windows. And then the one window with the fan in it is that here? Is that over here, maybe, Cherie? I don't know. I don't know if you guys can see where I'm pointing. So anyway, but that's the house. Looks much nicer now. It's been, some construction work has been done on it, renovation work and things like that. This house, I don't know if you remember during the interviews in jail, or the police report. I think the police report described it better, actually, now that I think about it. That's been a few weeks ago. But this house was, Will Carter did not own this house. He was living there, I think, like as a handyman or something for the old lady that owned it. And she died. And for whatever reason, according to Kim Davis's police report, nobody came to do anything with the house. It was paid for. I mean, I would imagine property taxes had to be paid every year. I don't know if that was done, but at any rate, Will Carter just kind of was a permanent squatter in the house. And then whoever else he would invite in to live with him, would also be squatting. But I also seemed like I remember that he was collecting rent from a couple of the different people that he had there, including Rosetta. Rosetta might just have been a housekeeper or something for him, although it doesn't appear she was doing a good job. But anyway, and then this is a picture this is Daniel's, just a picture of his midsection, I guess, where you can see where his gun was over here and things like that. Because what's going to become really important, well, maybe it's not Rosetta, because she talks about the gun slapping her upside the face or something, or on her cheek or something. Yeah. And so, oh yes, it's hitting her either in the face or the side of her butt or something, because she asks him, could you take your gun off? it's hitting me, so whatever. Anyway, so that's just kind of a picture showing, where his gun was and stuff like that. And it's relevant because she names a specific side of her face or her body that it's hitting her on, if I'm not mistaken. And then, so this is, Cherie, is this the side of the house then? So this, you can't really see it, but this is Will Carter sitting in the chair over here, and then two officers that are from the gang unit.
I think that might be another side. Maybe it's the side or the back. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
because there's not on the front. I don't believe there's two.
No, there wasn't
those things.
Yeah,
openings,
the archways.
There you go. That's good.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's So anyway, those are the photos. I'm so glad I was able to figure that out. Finally, how to show those to you. So anyway, those are I believe most, if not all, of the exhibit photos. So hopefully that kind of helps to give you some visuals of it's really frustrating to watch or to listen to descriptions of something and not be able to, place a visual of what it really looks like. It lets your imagination go all over the place. And I'll tell you what, when my imagination was running before I saw these exhibit photos, when my imagination was running, I did not visualize a pair of whitey tighties with a stripe around the waistband instead of the white towel with a blue stripe, but whatever, because I really think that's what she's talking about. Now that I think about it, I think that defense counsel Scott Adams goes into quite a bit of detail with Rosetta Grate during cross-examination during the trial. So, Cherie, anything that you would like to, is this a link to the video, Cherie?
Yeah, the link is to the news clip that has Will saying something about Rosetta.
Okay, let me see if I can share this for you guys. Okay, I can. I think I can. So this is why I believe this is why she got put in jail when the detectives visit her for the interview. Let's see if this will work. I don't know why it won't. It will. I think it will. Okay. This is the reason, I believe this is the reason this video I'm going to show you is why she was in jail when the detectives came to interview her that first time. So I will play that for you. And, oops. I don't know what's happening. Okay. Can everybody see that okay? Cherie, can you?
I can see it.
Okay.
Very well.
All right. Here we go.
Driving near 23rd and Broadway, an Oklahoma City police officer pulls over a driver for a busted tag light.
This is EMSA. What's the address of your emergency?
Seconds later, an emergency call came into 911 to report a shooting at this nearby home.
They was like, who got shot? Where's the people? Who's fighting? I'm like, what? Man, I'm asleep. What are you talking about?
With EMSA and fire speeding past his location, the suspicious patrol officer asked the driver to hand over her phone and found the suspect, Rosetta Grate, had in fact dialed 911.
She called 911 to report a shooting at a nearby location. Well, there wasn't a shooting. It was a fake call in order to get the officer off the traffic stop so he would go to the shooting call.
She's slick.
Until recently, Will Carter lived in this home with Grate. He is not shocked by her arrest.
Because she's not a citizen. She's a criminal. She's a schemer and a con woman, and she played her last trick.
A check with the Department of Corrections shows Grate does have a lengthy criminal history, including several convictions for drug-related crimes during a search of her car. At this intersection, police say they also found 2 crack pipes. Her now former roommate says she's better off behind bars.
That's because she was getting in trouble and she wouldn't stop. It's good for her to get off the street because she won't hurt nobody or somebody else hurt her.
So, hopefully everybody was able to hear that okay, because I didn't have very good sound. So that was Will Carter. Yeah, she did. That's right. Yep, she sure did. Kim Davis, during the police interview, when she's talking to her in that first interview, and Rosetta explains, I don't think they talked about why. I don't think they talked about why. I don't think they didn't specify why. Go ahead, Sheree.
I think Kim said that pretend call or something like that, made it sound like a kid prank,
Yeah. And Kim Davis was like, haha, that's pretty slick, pretty sharp of you to, think of something like that. And we're watching, I know the first times we were watching that going, what the hell are you talking about? It's not, you can't, why are you encouraging, illegal behavior? I mean, I think it's a felony to call, to make a false 911 call. So, anyway, so we've been wanting to show you that. So, maybe we can drop the link to that into the chat. And if somebody wants to watch it, then they can watch it, on their own and hear it a little bit better. It didn't sound like it was very good sound quality. So even Will Carter admits to the media that she's a criminal, that she's slick, he didn't say the word manipulative, but she's very manipulative and she's a good, I don't know if I want to say she's a good liar, but she lies so effortlessly. She lies like everything she's saying is actually the truth, and it's really bizarre. Under Your Scars, thanks for being here today, and thanks for staying as long as you could. I really appreciate you, and enjoy your guests and enjoy your dinner. Sounds, whatever it is, I'm sure it's yummy in Canada. So thank you so much, Under Your Scars. Under Your Scars is one of our most loyal and always keeps coming back and waits for new content to come out. And Under Your Scars, Joffrey, Sheila. I haven't seen Sheila today, but there's quite a few that are always here. Liam, and if they can't make it, I know there's a reason why, but I know that they're also possibly going to be watching later. And I think I saw TJ pop in. I did. TJ pops in every chance he gets. TJ, it's great to see you. I don't know why you didn't get a notification. I had it scheduled last night, which was a change, but I'm sorry you didn't get the notification. It should always be every Sunday afternoon in about for you, the 2:00 hour, 2:00 Central. So my goal is to try to be as consistent with content as we possibly can, even if I have nothing prepared, just to get on and talk about it, about something. So thank you, TJ, and I'm sorry that you didn't get a notification. And I'm always happy to have you just lurking if that's what you are able to do. And I hope you're doing well, TJ. So let's see. I want to go back through some comments now, if that's okay. So let's see. Well, the transcript was quite interesting, to say the least. Joffrey said it was hilarious with the fast replies. Yeah, because there was nothing I could do there was nothing I could do to edit that. It's one thing to try to take something out, but it's a whole different thing to try to I mean, I could have done it, but then I would have just had blank, black spaces, which I didn't want to do. So, um, so Liam says, and this was like, this can't be over quick enough. And he was like, this will take as long as it takes. And I was like, yes, before he was finished. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. It was funny. Rick says, what's interesting about this transcript is she claims she was relapsing and was smoking crack, yet remembers every little detail. Yes. Yes. That's a common theme with most of these accusers, Rick. Well, and like I said earlier, a fair amount about this case. So, outside of what I've been doing. So, you might know that, of course, if you don't have access to the transcripts, because they're incredibly expensive to purchase. But anyway, that's a whole other drama that we went through the last couple of years. There's so many lies and inconsistencies in all of these that it's just astounding that any of these could even be taken to trial. And when we finished reading this preliminary transcript, I thought, how the hell did the judge even approve this case to go to trial? Because nothing she said, in my opinion, and I read the shit, made any sense at all. None of it made any sense to me. Notwithstanding me being a mind reader, and jumping in with answers, all the other stuff, all the other, long responses made no sense to me. So, yes, I wanted to make sure we got it done in a timely manner. And the RP Games, hey, it's great to see you. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate your support. And it's great to have you. Yeah, a lot. Yes, and as Liam says, yes, a lot of coaching has gone into these replies. And I think it's Adara Gardner who's coming up shortly, probably sometime early spring, I don't know. But the coaching that was done with her is really astounding. And she kind of admits it during trial, and in a way. And I remember reading it the first time going, holding my breath like, okay, this is going to be it. This is where they're going to, but turns out her case was the one who everybody really got upset about, and a whole other thing. So, let's see. I know there were some, yes, I was killing myself listening to myself do all that was quite comical. As it is, most people don't like the sound of their voices anyway when they're hearing them back in a recording. So that, on top of just being like Liam said, being a mind reader was making me laugh. It's okay. I need to laugh, so it was all good. I don't remember if I said hello to you, Muffin Rando. I think I did, but just in case I didn't, I'm so glad to have you here and have you in the chat. Thank you. Our P game says, so his penis went into your mouth? No, it went into my ear. How do you do oral sex? Exactly, for sure. She wasn't sure for sure because, I don't know. I don't understand any of what she said.
I think at that time she was talking about not being sure when or if he finished or why he stopped or something
gotcha.
like that.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, who knows? Well, because in jail, I'm pretty sure in jail, one of the interviews in jail, she said that he did ejaculate. I feel like she said it was with certainty.
No, I don't think. Yeah, I think she did say that, not for the oral, but for the.
No, yeah, for the rape. Yeah. And then she kind of alluded to it. Like, listen, I don't like to say this, trying to be as careful as I can, but women know. The women just know. That's all I can say. If you were, if there was an ejaculation or if there wasn't, you just know. That's all I can
Correct.
say. Cherie? Yeah, correct. So for her to be, well, I wasn't for sure, but then she was like, well, I wiped myself. Well, if you weren't sure, then why did you wipe? And the whole pre-ejaculate comment did not fit with that. She's just blah. And the thing that's so crazy about this is that she's in jail. She's actually incarcerated during the time of this preliminary hearing. So, I mean, we can't be sure that she wasn't using any drugs because we know how possible it is to be using drugs in jail. But if she wasn't using any drugs, she sounded like she was on something for sure, just with her crazy responses and things. So let's see here. Yes, Blinky made a I was talking about not making shit up yeah, Blinky did it all. She made up all this. She did help these girls with all sorts of stories. So yes, they did test everything for DNA. And like I said, as we were showing the photos, there was no DNA from Daniel at all anywhere in the house. So, RP games, yeah, that it's bizarre. And also in the police interview, the second one, when she's giving all of these details and places that these guys should be looking for evidence, she talks about a little 3-drawer dresser next to her bed, and I don't remember seeing one.
I think
at
she
all.
says somewhere, maybe it was in the preliminary, that by the time the police went to search, allegedly the dresser wasn't in the same spot. So maybe it's that dresser. I don't know how many drawers were on it, but the one that's over on the other side, kind of now.
Yeah, could be, and we'll look at those again. We'll share those evidence, those exhibit photos again at some point. Liam, the picture of that room show that the CSI would have been blinded if they had used a black light. Reminds me of the episode of The Office. Where were they, in Florida? Dwight and Jim and the whole team had gone to Florida for whatever it was. And they used a black light. Or anyway, yeah, that's what that reminds me of.
I just remembered too, there was a dresser in the closet. It looked like a dresser, white. So maybe that was it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I want to say in the second police and the second jailhouse interview, she says, I feel like specifically, but your memory is a lot better than mine, but I felt like specifically she said that there was a dresser with 3 drawers next to her bed in some, I don't know where the words fit, but that, I don't know. I could be wrong. Anyway, doesn't matter because there was no freaking rag, towel, whatever, found. And if those were the black panties that I was trying to point out in the photo, they were nowhere near that drawer either. So unless, like Cherie said, that's more like a cubby, not a dresser drawer. That's more like a cubby. But man, her story just is so illogical and unreasonable and unbelievable. I just can't believe they let hers go through, especially with zero DNA evidence from Daniel being anywhere in the house. So, this, I responded back to RP Games that he was definitely onto something, and I was talking about the video that we showed you from the news, because I kind of think that's what it was all about. It's just my opinion. Yes, it is so filthy and disgusting, and she's just so gross. Um, so let's see. Uh, do you have the information about the actual deal that she got out of the testimony, though? Didn't she get released from the treatment program and all charges dropped? No. Um, None of her charges were dropped, and we don't have any proof or evidence that any of these girls were, or women, accusers, whatever, that any of them were offered anything. The only thing we know for sure is that some of them, like Rosetta, Terry Morris for sure. I'm not sure who else, but several of them were offered drug rehab. By the DA was offering drug rehab to any of these accusers who wanted it, or needed it. Whether any of that ever really happened, we don't know for sure. And despite what a video that we're going to show you sometime in the future, despite what Galen Giger, the male ADA that tried this case, the main prosecutor, according to him, Rosetta Grate when she got out of jail and this trial was over and ended and everything, she was doing very well, he says. If you go into Discord, Daniel's Truth Discord, and look in Rosetta Grate's room, that's a freaking lie, because she has been in trouble ever since then, and continues to get into trouble. So I can't say that any charges were dropped. There are some things that we've gone over in the past that we think, in our opinions, I shouldn't say my opinion, we believe is very suspect of deals they might have gotten, or different things like that, but we don't have any proof, unfortunately. So, but that's a great question. All you have to do is read the BTPRC study from 1995 to know all the testimony was. Oh yeah, I don't know what the BTPRC is. You'll have to tell me sometime, Rick. I might know what it is, but I don't recognize the acronym, but or the letters. But even whatever that is, I just had to read the testimony myself to know that it was all lies. And I know who could say we know for sure, but come on, we're not unintelligent people. It just doesn't, I don't know. But I agree. I'm curious, though, to know what you're talking about, Rick. You'll have to let me know. And yes, Liam, it definitely a sly move on her part. She is. She's like Will Carter said, she's slick. So she's a criminal. That's what she does. RP Games says judges should not be raising a line of thought or questioning that the DA did not approach and then invite the DA. Yes, thank you. That's 4 of us now, Cherie. You, me, Richard, and RP Games. We all 4 think it was improper for the judge to do that. I just, not to ask the question, but to then kind of a wink and a nod to the DA. Okay, you sure you don't have any redirect? That was just bullshit to me. So yes, thank you. Appreciate that.
And it's not like Lori McConnell is a new kid on the block either. It might be a little more understanding if she needed a hand. But no.
Yeah, no.
It's still not proper.
Yeah, for sure.
In my opinion.
For sure improper. Under Your Scars asked if I was muted. I think everyone could hear. And Jasnaz, hey, it's great to see you. Thank you for always coming in and, giving us some love, showing some support, and reminding everyone to like and subscribe. I really do appreciate you, Jazz. It's great to see you. Thank you. And let's see. Okay, Cherie said, or I don't recall, Kim Davis and Valerie Holman met with her on 8/27 and 9/2. So they searched the house the next day after the second visit. Yeah, they got that search warrant pretty quick for sure. And according to, well, not according to Rosetta, because she didn't know. Kim Davis let her know that the day that she was stopped was April something. So according to Rosetta, I think she said she thought May was the last time she'd been in the house. So yeah, things were changed. I can see that. I can understand that. But I do not believe for a minute that freaking comforter was washed twice in that amount of time. Unless there was people and cats and kids and all kinds of stuff peeing on it. The RP games. Pros tend to not want to waste time with under. It's true though. I mean, it's like, yeah, legitimate. I'm almost certain that somewhere in trial she says she just had on a little black dress and wasn't wearing panties or something, some kind of words to that effect. But I could be wrong. We'll see. We'll see when we get to
She
the transcripts.
said, I can't remember if she said the color, but she did say in, I think it was the first interview, that she thinks she was wearing a dress and she never wears panties.
And she never wears panties, yeah. And you're absolutely right, RP Games, because they don't have time to be messing around with underwear. They're trying to make some money. Oh, God. I know this sounds really crude, and none of it's funny, but just like any other dark, thing that we cover or talk about, if we don't laugh and make jokes about some things, I couldn't do it. I couldn't be doing this. I mean, there's just way too much. Even though I believe all of its lies or most of its lies, the content is just too triggering and too upsetting. So if I don't laugh and make jokes at, these accusers' expense or these detectives' expenses, or the DA's or the judge, I wouldn't be able to keep doing this at all. So, and the RP Game says he remembers white towels with a pair of blue stripes down the center. I don't remember where the blue stripes were on my grandma's towels, but so do I. Yeah, it really is. It really is. It's okay. In that respect, I don't feel the only person that I feel bad for in any of the accusers is perhaps Terry Morris. She still lied. She still lied under oath. She's still a liar. She still falsely accused somebody of, assaulting her, sexually assaulting her, which I think is deplorable. And if you ask me what my goal for an outcome would be, besides Daniel being exonerated and set free, would be that these women would do jail time for the lies that they told against a man, and because it's horrible. And all of my male friends know that at any time, but for the grace of God, there they go, because unfortunately, some women are despicable individuals, and they will lie. When I say I've lived it, I don't mean I myself personally have lied about these kinds of things ever at all, but I know of women who have lied about being, sexually assaulted, verbally assaulted, physically, and things like that. And I just think it's one of the most despicable things that we can do to another human. That's just my little. Let's see. RP Game says that spill is actually just the floor finish. A lot of people don't finish the floors in closets to save product. Okay, all right. All right. I believe that. I believe you. Um, and he says, in high school, I did a lot of odd jobs in construction during the summer months. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I have a really hard time being fairly objective with these women. So thank you for bringing me back and, setting me straight on that. Let's see. RP Game says, if I'm right, the double window is where the fan is. Well, we're going to have to just go back through those pictures again because I don't remember now. I don't remember. And yeah, that was where she lived, Joffrey. That was her house. Well, it wasn't her house, and it wasn't even really Will Carter's house, but that's where they lived. And we're going to hear from Will Carter during the trial. He's going to testify. I don't remember what he says during his testimony, but I'm sure it's going to be interesting. Okay, there was a curtain next to the window with the fan. Okay, I'll have to read. I'll have to look at that again. Definitely interesting. Let me see if I can hold those back up. It's easy enough.
I think the exhibit 8 and 12 show the window somewhere in there.
Okay, so here's the bed. Duh. There's a window here and there's a window here. And then this one over here is where the fan is. So this is kind of so there's one window, then let's see. Oh, you know what? You might be wrong. You know what? You're right, RP Games. There is a window behind there. Okay. I mean, I can see the framing of it there anyway. So.
But in that picture you just went through there, it shows like a bookcase or something in between two windows. I'm confused.
Oh, let's see here. Okay,
Right there.
so
yeah,
there's a filing cabinet. This is the corner, obviously. So this is one window, and there's a distance, there's a space between this window and this next window. And then this window, those two windows are right next to each other, and these are all in the corner. So we'll get back to, thank you for pointing that out, RP Games. So let's, this is it. This is the corner of where, can you guys see my cursor? I don't know if you can see it or not. But this corner, this top right corner is where her room was. So if there was somebody, in pulling into the driveway or going down the street, even, somebody who was standing up at the edge of the bed, which is presumably over here somewhere, banging somebody at the edge of the bed, then yeah, they might have seen. I don't think. Well, whatever. It's all such a lie. It doesn't even matter. Is the thing. But thank you for pointing that out, because I'm not good enough detective, I guess, because I did not catch that. You can see the little cursor. Perfect. Okay. All right. Stop sharing. Okay. All right. So so I don't know if you heard me or not, Joffrey, but her and Will Carter were living there free. The home belonged to a wealthy lady much earlier than, of course, this incident all took place. The home belonged to a wealthy older woman. I think she was single, and I think the house was completely paid for, if I'm not mistaken. And so there would have been because Will Carter lived there for several years, to my understanding. And so the home was paid for, so there was no, concern for late mortgage payments or anything like that. And it was in a very wealthy part of the Oklahoma City area. But the old lady died. And when she died, for whatever reason, whether she didn't have any, family or kids or grandkids or whatever, nobody ever came to take over the home. And so they just lived there for as long as they could for free. But they, it didn't take long for them to let it get run down. I'm sure there were neighbors who were not happy that the house was looking as run down as it was starting to look. And because it was and I only know it was a wealthy area because we literally drove through it and around it several different times one day while we were there. And there were nice, big, very well kept homes there, for crack addicts to be living in. But you could tell, based on what we've seen personally, you could tell that whoever was living in that home was not one of the kind of people that, bought their homes in that area. Oh yeah. Yes. So I appreciate that. I really do appreciate you pointing all that out, RP Games. Michael Stetson is my virtual crush. Never met Michael. I don't know him personally, never seen a picture, but he's my virtual crush. He's just a sweetheart and always very kind. And if you're married, Michael, to Mrs. Michael, I apologize. I promise there's no seriousness behind it. He's just a really sweet man. So I am so glad to have you here. And let's see. Yeah, back to the police video. Kim Davis told Rosetta she thought she was quite sharp of her to make that 911 call. Yeah, everyone was better off when she was behind bars, but she always manages. She's in and out to this day. Rosetta Grate is in and out of jail for one thing or another. It's insane to me, but how some people go to prison for, years, for having an ounce of marijuana or whatever, yet this crackhead and whatever you want to call her can just bounce in and out, and she's done times where she's spent a lot of time, but not enough. Like most of these women should be behind bars permanently, if you ask me. So anyway, let's see. Let's see. Michael says, I've called 911 once in my lifetime for an actual emergency, and even then I felt uncomfortable doing so. I called 911 one time when I caught somebody peeping in my bedroom window when I was alone in my apartment one time. And I was terrified. And none of my kids, the son that lived the closest to me was about 25 miles away. And I was like, I was scared. So yeah, I did the same thing. And to your point, Michael, I sat there because when I saw that somebody was peeping in the window, I dropped to the floor. I dropped to the floor. And as I did that, I grabbed my cell phone off my nightstand. And I did have a nightstand next to my bed. I didn't lie about it. But I grabbed my cell phone and I sat there for probably a minute. And I even yelled because it was summertime and it was September, early September. It was still warm. And my window was open and for a breeze. And I yelled, I'm calling the police. And whoever it was, took off. And I sat there thinking, okay, good, they left. I don't need to call the police. I'm not going to call the police. And then I was like, no, I was scared to death. I thought I have to, like, what if there's just 1,000 different things that could have happened. So I did call the police, and then I called my son, and my son, who lived 25 miles away, got there before the police did. So I don't know. Well, just, I say that because he was like, oh, hell no, nobody's going to fuck with my mama. He was boom on it to, make sure I was okay. Anyway, let's see. Did Daniel's attorney ever look into or ask about her use history? Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. They have, so Brian Bates was the defense counsel's investigator, and he has all the information, and he had all of the police records, and we'll see. I don't remember because it's been a long time, but we'll see if Scott Adams goes into her criminal history, her criminal past. But yeah, they had all of that. They had all that stuff. Brian Bates had gotten all that information. The problem with Scott Adams, and I do kind of, give him shit for what I sometimes call, such a crappy job. But I have to remember, he was trying 13 different cases by himself in one trial. He didn't have a team. He had a co-counsel, Robert Gray. I don't know how much help Robert Gray was. I don't think he was very much help at all, from what I can tell. And as quickly as they ended up going to trial, even though Brian Bates had the information for Scott Adams needed help. He needed a team. He needed more help to try 13 cases in one trial. There was so much, using my air quotes, evidence. I right, wrong, or otherwise, I think it was very overwhelming for him. I think Cherise had the same opinion.
Yes, it was. And he also seemed to go after more the women, and instead of pointing out, at least in the beginning, pointing out how the police kind of set this up.
Yeah.
Made it happen.
Yeah, he did. We've talked about that too over the years, that defense counsel's strategy was not good. You can't go, well, in my opinion, you can't go into a trial like this with accusations of sexual assaults and rapes and all those things.
Not in that environment, especially at that time.
Yeah,
what was going on
sure
in the country.
Yeah, all of the BLM was just kind of getting their start in, and all of these women were Black, of course, because that's the way Lieutenant Timothy Musney set that up. Not to mention the area that Daniel drove in, that he patrolled, was the high crime area that was mostly Black and Hispanic, people. So, but that's not to say there were no white people, because, I've looked through some of the calls of Daniel's, I can't think of what it's called right now, but dispatch calls, and he stopped or, pulled over or talked to white men and women, not as frequently, not as much, because the demographics of the area was lower income, high crime, drug use, prostitution, and Black people, unfortunately. I don't know, this video could get taken down, who knows, but not saying that to be, anything other than what the reality of it was. So it's not like he really, had opportunity to stop any other, races, but Lieutenant Timothy Musney, who was the supervisor over Rocky Gregory and Kim Davis, he's the one who set those parameters of who he wanted. If you listened a month or so ago to trial transcript, well, the first time Richard read with us and talking about the list, if you haven't, but you should go back and listen to that. But that's what the whole thing about the list has been about in this case, was, that it was a list that was made up by law enforcement, Timothy Musney, that whose parameters were Black females, lower income, drug history, prostitution history, criminal histories. Those were the demographics that the lieutenant set up for them to look for, because it wasn't at all because Daniel was racist and targeting these Black women. So, no, there's going to be, he'll be questioning her in the trial. I think there's a lot more context in the trial transcripts, Rick. TJ says, Kim Davis asked how was my picture picked out of a book by a clerk who cashed a counterfeit money order with my name on it by someone who had stolen my identity. I said, by calling you a liar. Wait, TJ, was Kim Davis involved in your case? I don't think I ever knew that. Oh my God, I'm so sorry that you were exposed to that evil witch that way. I didn't know that. Ugh. Now I don't think it's possible, but I hate her even more now. Woman is evil and disgusting. I'd never been in that store. Let's see. Michael says, it's amazing the low-life prosecutors are willing to use as witnesses. Hey, listen, if you want to hear or see one of these detectives in their most disgusting form, go back and listen to, it's way back in my series of videos, but what Rocky Gregory did to Terry Morris was to me so inhumane. He bullied her, he pressured her, he literally begged her to talk to him and give him information. And he knew what her mental health, she had told him that she was paranoid schizophrenic and all these other different mental health problems that she had and all these different medications that she was on. Not to mention, she was literally fiending for crack or meth or something during these interviews. And he just treated her like it's one of the reasons I feel sorry. I don't want to say feel sorry for, but I have sympathy or empathy for Terry Morris of all of these accusers, but she still lied. So I just have to always say that. RP Games says, I don't feel the Holtzclaw's attorney was working for him, but for the police union, and they didn't want him cleared. No, well, very early on, as I was researching this case, before I, was able to get any documents or anything, I thought that too. But there really is no evidence or proof or even an indication that, well, I don't know, that you could be partially correct, because what is that called, Cherie, that they did before the trial?
Predetermination
hearings. And, FOP was there supposedly to back him up and support him, but they didn't. They kind of threw him under the bus, to be quite honest. And then before Daniel had even gone to trial, before they'd even had a preliminary trial, the Oklahoma City PD fired him from his job. And that, I think, in large part because, like what you're kind of saying, Michael, RP Games.
He wrote a letter pretty much declaring Daniel guilty before he even had a trial. I can't remember if that was publicized, like, in the paper or whatever, but
I think it was on their Facebook page, Cherie. Bill City did that. Yeah, Bill City did that. The chief of police at the time. So, but not wanting him cleared, that's the only part that I kind of am not certain about, because I don't know that it wasn't that. I don't feel like I don't feel like they were trying to cover up anything. I really feel like the whole thing went as far as it did and got as bad as it did because the city didn't want their brand new city, Oklahoma City, torn up by riots if Daniel was not charged and convicted. That's just what I think based on the history, the time period, and what I have known about that stuff. And TJ, I don't know if he's still here or not, but TJ has in past chats has said, yeah, there was that kind of tension going on in Oklahoma City during those times, even though in the interview with Michelle Malkin, Kim Davis and Rocky Gregory are like, no, there was no racial tension going on at the time. And TJ's like, yeah, there was. He lived there. He knows.
So they don't have that racism there, just like they don't have touch DNA there in Oklahoma City. So according to Kim.
Yep. And Galen Giger. Yeah. Yep, exactly. You'll find, those of you who are new to my channel, you'll find that we are often very sarcastic. So if we say something that you're like, wait a minute, whoa, what? Stop and reconsider. It's possible that it's, sarcasm, because we're both pretty good at it. Let's see. I feel like I've missed some. I don't know what's happening. Michael says RP games follow the money. I say whoever is actually paying the money, the attorney probably has a lot of sway in how they proceed. I'm not sure.
I believe that Daniel's family paid for Scott Adams.
Yeah, they hired Scott Adams.
Money, like $250,000. It rings a bell. I couldn't swear to it.
It could be. I do know that they hired Scott Adams. So now the prosecutors and the judge and the law enforcement, all of those people, we know who pays them, so we know how it's going to go. And also, just going to throw this out there, that's a whole other topic, but if you don't already know, about 4 years ago, the judge who presided over Daniel's sexual assault / rape trial was accused of, the quote in the media, in the newspapers, were serious sexual assaults by 2 female attorneys in the DA's office and 2 or 3 public defenders, defense attorneys. So I shouldn't have said public defenders. I think they were defense attorneys is how that was identified. So this just shows how the corruption. Also, having read the book Death and Justice by Mark Furman, whole other topic. We don't have to go into that now, but that book was really, really good. And we learned so much in that book from Mark Furman that he had gone to Oklahoma City years ago, I think back in the 80s, wanting to find out why there were so many death people on death row in Oklahoma City, and why some of those people on death row or in prison in general were actually innocent of the crimes they had been convicted of, and in some cases executed for. So anyway, off topic, but there's a lot of great information about how corrupt Oklahoma City is in that book. It's, yeah. So, I mean, if you're bored, have nothing else to do sometime, I would recommend reading that book. I don't know if it's on Audible or not, but I think I read it on Kindle. Anyway, let's see. I wanted to see something right up here. Okay, RP Game says the problem is once you're on the other side of a verdict, it's 1,000% harder to get justice unless you can get a new trial. Exactly, and that's what Daniel's attorney, new attorney, is. You know, I shouldn't say new, but not Scott Adams. You know, they're working on his post conviction right now, and so, oh man, hopefully, you know, that can pay off and get him at least a new trial evidentiary hearing. The problem with an evidentiary hearing is there's no evidence in the case. Whatever you might think is evidence against Daniel in this case, throw it out, just hang it out to dry, because there is no evidence. And when people make a comment to me about, well, what about the GPS evidence? That's not fucking evidence. Oh God, I'm not going to get started. But anyway, there's no evidence. And what they call DNA evidence, it's not evidence either. It's barely measurable amount of skin transfer DNA. But anyway, so I'm trying to go through here. Shree, did you see any other? Oh, let's see here. Joffrey, if she only rented one room in the house, did none of the other occupants see down? There was no other occupants from what we know. The only occupants at that time was her and Will Carter. So
there was a neighbor. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Sheree.
They did interview a neighbor because Rosetta thought maybe the neighbor had seen the police car there, which there's no question that he was there briefly, but other than that, it's not true. But anyway, they interviewed the neighbor to see if she saw anything. I think it's Carol Sherwood or something like that. But she didn't. She's not home a lot, I guess. But I would have wondered too. I thought about that, how long Will was living there, and the neighbors did they know that, or maybe they just didn't care that the owner had passed away, or maybe they just thought, she left it to him and, didn't want to, and minded their own business. Who knows?
Well, which is weird because, people don't really mind their own business these days. But well, this was, 10 years ago now. But from all we know, from all the information that we have, nobody else was interviewed except for the lady across the street, the older lady across the street. And like Cherie said, she didn't notice a police car in the driveway ever. I think she knew that the lady had passed away, but I think she didn't know. I don't know. I feel like I have the impression that she thought that Will was supposed to be there or allowed to be there. Her and her husband, this older lady, whatever you said her name, Cherie.
The neighbor was, I think it was Carol Sherwood or Carol somebody. I have to look it up.
No, you're right. I know it was Carol something for sure. But anyway, her and her husband were both attorneys. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they ran their law firm. They had a private practice and they ran it from the home across the street. So Anyway, but that was the only person, as far as has ever been found or known, that she's the only person who was interviewed outside of 633 Culbertson. So but yeah, there's also, and I'm because we haven't really read live Will Carter's testimony, but yeah, I think we're going to get more information about that when he testifies, when we go through his testimony. No, there was nothing. There was nothing. There's nothing. Only her words. Joffrey, only all of their words was the only evidence. That's it. And their words were just unbelievably unbelievable to me. I don't know, man. It's so fucking frustrating. It kills me. It's why I'm so freaking passionate, because it's just, it's all so unbelievable. But, and listen, those of you who are newer that are just kind of joining and coming, paying it, listening to some of these videos, I forgot what I was going to say, so I'll think of it later. But I know what it was. The other problem is why we are having, I believe, so much trouble getting this story out, or this information out, is because Daniel was a former cop. He was an Oklahoma City police officer when all of these events allegedly took place. So when you add, the hatred and vitriol that, is out there still, even worse now, but about cops as it is, and how cops are all racist, and, what is their ACAB acronym, all cops are bad, or all cops are bastards, whatever. It's really hard to get anybody to even consider that he's innocent, because he was, after all, a cop. And I want to say that I support law enforcement, and that and I do support law enforcement, but I don't support, bad law enforcement. None of us do. And unfortunately, there are bad cops out there. There are bad anybody out there. Anybody, any job that any profession, anything, there are bad ones. And I think that there are fewer bad ones than there are good ones. We only hear about the bad ones. We very rarely get a news story about a good cop who did something really good. We only hear about the bad ones. I'm telling you, as God is my witness, and as every single word I've ever read about this case, Daniel is not guilty. Just because he was a cop when these things allegedly happened does not automatically make him ineligible for being treated decently, being allowed a fair trial. Not that he should have ever had to have one, but just because, by virtue of the fact that he was a cop, that was already the biggest strike against him. And then, Timothy Musney, and all his people, all his little buddies, they made it even worse for Daniel by basically calling him a racist cop targeting poor black, drug-addicted, prostitute women with criminal histories. What fucking chance did he have? He had no chance in that area with the corrupt law enforcement at that level, and the corruption in the court system in Oklahoma City. And I'm not just being, hyperbolic or whatever. They are corrupt. It's just the way it is. They're corrupt. And they always have been. And I have videos that talk about Bob Macy and all of his corruption and everything else. So to me, Oklahoma is in the top 5 of or Oklahoma City, I'll say. In one of the in my top 5 for most corrupt places in that way. I'm talking too much. I'm sorry. I see an office question, I think. Michael. There was also an episode with Michael and Dwight where Dwight said it could be blood, semen, or urine. And Michael said, I hope it's urine. Yes. That was the one. That's the episode I was talking about. Yeah, I love The Office. I'll never stop watching that show. It's probably my favorite sitcom of all time. Yeah, I hope it's urine. I was like, what would be the worst of the 3? Oh, I can't even. Every time I see that, I'm like, no, I don't want it to be any of them. That's funny, Michael. RP Games. I think she said the dresser had been replaced since the incident. Yeah, you guys are right for sure about that. Let's see. You guys are so awesome. I don't think I've ever had this much engagement in the chat before. You guys, your comments and your questions are amazing. Thank you so much for participating and offering so much to the show. Cherie, do you remember she's been arrested so many times. I can't remember.
Maybe we could make it a project for next time or us not coming live to see what we can find before then, to see what's out there.
Yeah, we'll try to do some checking into that RP Games, because there was a lot of accusers who did have some charges mysteriously disappeared or dropped, or so there's so much corruption in this case. It's horrible. So we'll Cherie and I together right here in front of everybody commit to looking into that for you guys, see what we can find out. Let's see, TJ, always interested in what TJ has to say. Well, everybody, but TJ's got some life experience here. Probably no proof of any of the charges were valid in the first place unless used for blackmail testimony. Yeah, who knows? Okay. I'll have to. So the numbers, the letters you gave, the Biological Psychiatry and Research Center. Definitely interested in that, Rick. Thank you. I appreciate that. Cherie, will you write that down for me so I can remember to look into that? Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. Objection. Judge leading the prosecution. Absolutely. Oh, you guys are lucky I edited out my reaction to that, because it was pretty unnecessary but legitimate. Yes, you are welcome to join Daniel's Truth. I'm not good in there in the Discord. It needs a lot of cleaning up. A lot of things need to be deleted and whatever. But there is a room for each accuser. Unfortunately, I've been trying to, for the most part, maintain it and manage it by myself. And I just don't really have a lot of time. And because there's not ever really a lot of engagement in there, by others asking questions or, anything like that, I just don't spend as much time there as I should. But there is a room for each accuser. And I think I did really good for a while at putting information as we would go. I would put information in each room, but I'm not going to lie, I've been really lax at doing that this last year. So Maybe with more people involved and engaged in the Discord, maybe we can do more there. So thank you for putting that in, Cherie. Are you talking about? Yes. Are you talking about? Yeah, she said that to Sherry Ellis. Kim Davis said that to Sherry Ellis. Straight up told her, "I know who did this to you." Go back. I don't know how far back it is or what episodes, but go back and go through the Sherry Ellis series. Kim Davis is just a vile, evil human individual. I don't even like to call her human. Let's see. Yeah, that's true too. I'm trying to see. She kind of gives two different, if I'm not mistaken, and it's hard because there's lies told from the jailhouse interviews to the police report and then on to the preliminary trial about, was he, on top of her banging her, or was he standing at the edge of the bed? There's no way he could stand at the edge of that bed that was on the ground. Go ahead. Sorry, Cherie.
Well, with the oral, she did say explicitly he was standing up and she was sitting on the bed. And
Right.
That's not going to work because that bed is so low to the ground.
Too low.
It doesn't have anything under it. Isn't it just a mattress?
Just a box spring on the floor and the mattress. I guess.
And even, if she just laid back for part 2, then it's not going to work for him, a man his size especially, to bend over,
Right.
So it's ridiculous.
Well, Daniel's like 6'3". Come on. We are not stupid people. But yet it all went to trial anyway. So I don't know, man. Just insane.
I wonder if they did show the bed in the trial, because I'm sure the jury would be able to understand that too.
You think, but I don't know, man. Oh, it's so. Anyway, can you guys who haven't been familiar with my channel, and can you just get a glimpse of why I've been so passionate about this? Because it's just unbelievable that this man is in prison for 263 years. And Cherie and I on this video right now are telling you we 100% believe in his innocence. Yet, it's heartbreaking and infuriating and disgusting that in America this can happen. There's definitely so many thousands of broken pieces in our criminal justice system. Let's see. RP Games. Did Will Carter have access to the older lady's accounts? Oh, if he kept paying her tax bills, that would explain why he would get away with it. I bet the property tax was reasonable. I don't know if he did or not. That's not anything. We might find out during the trial if he did. If Scott Adams was, effective in cross-examining him. But that's a good question. And I don't know. It was a pretty wealthy area, but it was how many years ago? And the house is old. Those homes are old, but very nice old homes. So the property tax could have been reasonable for sure. I'll bet we could find that out. That wouldn't be hard a little bit of research. I bet we wouldn't have a hard time. Yeah, the fan might not have been there in April. That's true. And this photo was taken actually in September. So that's a good point. RP Games. The address, TJ, was 633 Culbertson Drive?
Yes, it was Drive. I looked it up after.
Okay. 633 Culbertson Drive. Yes. Yeah. You're welcome. Michael, you're welcome for anything. Whatever I said, you're welcome. Um, yeah, that was terrifying. You know, you never think I guess I never thought about it. I never thought it would ever happen. But I guess if I had thought about it, I would think, well, yeah, okay, so somebody was looking in your window. It's your own fault. Why did you have your window open? Well, because I fucking live there, and it was warm in my apartment after I got home from work, and I wanted the breeze. So yes, the victim blaming is just outrageous in this country. But it was terrifying when it happened to me. It all of a sudden became terrifying. So. Um, Oh, good. Okay, you did put it in there. Uh, let's see. You guys are so. I have never had so many comments to be able to go back through and read. This is amazing. Um, yeah, yeah. Well, and the police weren't. I mean, in reality, they weren't that far behind. If I'm being honest, but for my son to be 25 miles away, he was. This was, gosh, when was this? 2000. Oh, I can't remember. 2000, early 2000s. And so I want to say maybe 2006 or 7, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, or even earlier. But anyway, it was, it was a lot easier for my much younger then son to jump in his car and speed up to save his mama. I have the best boys in this whole world. Um, uh, let's see. Okay, Rick says, I don't mean that she used and how many arrests. I mean amount, how long the breaks before. Oh, I don't know that. I would be speculating 100% when I say this, but just because I know so much about her, I know that sounds weird, but um, I would be, I wouldn't be surprised if the only time she would be clean is when she would be incarcerated, if she was even clean then, because we know it's, all that shit's, you know, very easy to obtain while you're in jail. Um, so I don't know. I mean, I think she probably relapsed every time she got out of jail, to be honest. She's, she's been she's just been a drug user as far as we can tell, way back in her history. She said that she had picked up, what did she say, in 2009 or 9 years ago? I can't remember what it was she said, but I don't know, man. Ugh, maybe that could be. She could have been, using only for 9 years at that point. And she's lucky she wasn't dead. But, anyway. This was a bad neighborhood. Yes. Does the evidence show Daniel's patrol car stopped in front? Yes. Oh, yes. There, the AVL. I'll show those to you next time. I'll get those on slides because I have colored all of the AVL for this case. Well, for this accuser, and he was there. And there's actually radio traffic when he called in, and that he called in and said. He was transporting her, which he has to do. I think I can't remember what the code is now, but, he has to call in and report his mileage when he picks her up and starts, and then when he, drops her off and leaves. And I believe that the amount of time he was at the house, parked in front of the house, was just about 13 minutes and 10 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. Because he did step inside of the house to see, to verify if, can this person show me that she does live here? She had no ID on her or anything to prove that she lived there. So yeah, he was there. There's no doubt about it. But she says,
if
go
he
ahead.
looked her, I'm sorry, if he looked her up on Verona or whatever, and the address, I think in Verona was her father's address.
Yes.
And so that's another reason why he might doubt 633 Culbertson.
Exactly. Yeah. So absolutely. And he did the same thing with Adara Gardner, which is that's coming. That's several months down, but it's coming. But it seemed reasonable to me that, here's this drug addicted prostitute who I'm giving a ride home to get her off the street because she's claims that she's, trying to get off the street, but, she keeps getting another date so she could make some money so she can buy some more crack. And Daniel's idea was, okay, let me give you a ride home and at least, hopefully prevent any more dates between now and when you get there, because he knew he was familiar with the routine and how it worked. So anyway, it wasn't unreasonable to me that he would, stop to verify that that's where she really lived, especially because of where it was. Because I have visuals. I don't know about you, Cherie, but as we've read all these things over the years, I always get visuals of what it must have looked like. And now that we've been there and we know what these areas look like, my visuals are even more vivid now. And I can only imagine that if I picked her, if he picked her up where he did, over by Tabitha Barnes's crack house, and then she's telling him to drive to this wealthy area of town because that's where she lives. What? So yeah, it made perfect sense to me that he would check to verify that that's where she lived. Let's see. Is that the same Kim Davis that got convicted for? No. No, that one was in. Was she in New York? No, I know who you're talking about though.
It seems like it might have been Kentucky or something.
Yeah, maybe Kentucky or Tennessee. I do remember who you're talking about. That's been a long time ago. Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to. Rocky Gregory is worse than the little white speck on the top of chicken poop. Oh, Rick, that's true. That's true. Rocky Gregory is, oh God, I don't know who I despise more, him or Kim Davis. I think I don't know, man. It's whoever we're talking about, whichever accuser case we're talking about, that's which detective I hate most at the time. He's just like despicable, but yeah, there is that. He is worse. He's foul. He's a vile human too. I missed a comment, TJ. Proof she lied about the clerk picking. Oh, wait, what is happening? I missed some of your comments. She wasn't supposed to be, just happened to get involved somehow with the FBI. FBI proved it wasn't me. Are you talking about Kim Davis? I wish I'd known all this stuff. I mean, I know about what you're talking about that happened, but I didn't know Kim Davis was involved. I don't know about you, Cherie, but as far as I know, that's the first time you've ever disclosed that information, TJ, that I can remember.
I think I might have remembered mentioning something way back, but not all this detail.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's just... So, which at the same time proved she lied about the clerk picking my picture out of that book. Oh, TJ, I need to know more. Now, the more I know, the more I need to know. Sheila, How are you? It's so great to see you. I'm so glad you made it. I love that puppy face or that doggy face. I just want to squish him. Oh, he's so cute. Thank you for being here. Um, no touch DNA in Oklahoma. Oh yeah, there's no. They don't have any there. Um, yeah, they don't have touch DNA there. Just ask Kim Davis and Galen Gigger. They'll tell you. Oh, Rocky too, I guess. Yeah. Um, let's see. Yeah, there's a oh gosh, one of the news outlets did a interview with Galen Gigger when they talked about the touch DNA, and if and Holtzclaw supporters want to tell you that that this was from transfer DNA or touch DNA or whatever his words are, they are lying. And I'm like, you son of a bitch. I am not I'm nothing, but I know enough about DNA that I've learned over the years to know that you are full of shit. So anyway, I could go on and on. With racial tensions in the city, maybe neighbors were unwilling to challenge a black man living there after the older lady passed away. They already knew Will was her handyman, right? Yeah, I believe they knew of Will living there. So I mean, anything's possible, I guess. Anything's possible, honestly. TJ asked, who said they knew who the short black man that did it is?
That's Kim. Well, she
yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
Go
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
Sheree.
I mixed it up. You can tell it was Carla Raines, but I'm getting Sherry and Carla mixed up, so I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I understand who you're talking about. So Carla Raines, and we finished her series a couple months ago, or whatever it was. But Carla Raines, who initially told Rocky Gregory that none of that had ever happened to her, but she had referred to an incident with a cop a year earlier and said that it was a black cop that she knew was exposing himself to women, a black cop. And I have my own ideas and theories about who that cop was, but
that was Rocky Gregory that interviewed Carla Raines, though.
Right.
But,
yeah.
But I think who he's talking about is Kim Davis, or Sherry Ellis. And Kim said it beforehand. I know who did this to you. And then
I know. Yeah.
Then Sherry describes him as he's black,
a black man,
and he's shorter than I am.
Right. Yeah. So you're much better at that, Sheree, than I am. You read that probably the way it was intended by TJ. Yes, that was Kim Davis, and because Sherry Ellis said that it was a black man who had raped her, and you could almost see the air just leave Kim Davis's body in that interview, because she's like, no, he's not black. This is it's not a black cop. Because she's still trying to, by now she knows, she's got Daniel on her radar, and she says, I know what officer did this to you. And she's
Sherry,
talking. Go ahead. No.
And Sherry even said that he was dark, that the officer was darker than she is. And she wasn't, really dark, but Daniel's not dark at all. So.
Right. Yeah, because Kim Davis asked, wanted to know, how do you describe your skin color, your skin tone as a black woman, basically. And Sherry Ellis said, I'm light. So she considers herself a lighter complexion, lighter melanin or whatever, melanin, I guess is the right word, as lighter than the black cop that she claimed raped her. And not only was he darker than her, but he was like 6 inches shorter than her. So I think that's who you're talking about, TJ. That was Kim Davis to Sherry Ellis. I think Sherry read that right better than I did. RP Game says, aside from the lack of evidence, there is the part where the DA lied about the minute amount of touch DNA that was found in his clothing having been vaginal, despite the lab saying, yes, see, RP Games, you know some shit about this case too. You and Rick both. Yes, absolutely. And he said in the, I don't want to get sidetracked again because it's so easy for me, but I live in a sidetracked world. That's just who I am. But yeah, absolutely. That and Galen Gigger said, because he got a rebuttal closing argument, and in his rebuttal in the closing argument, and we've read that, and it's already on a video that we've done quite a while ago, but we read that, and he said that there was, I can't remember the exact words now, but you said it, RP Games. You're absolutely right. He claimed that it was fluid from the vagina of the 17-year-old victim, using my air quotes. And you're right, absolutely right, that Elaine Taylor said that no, it wasn't. They don't have any way to test that. They don't even have a way to test that yet. Maybe they don't now. I don't know, but there's like very few labs in the country who can test for that. And Oklahoma City's was not one of those labs, and they didn't send it out to one of those labs either. So, yeah, it's infuriating. And unfortunately, Scott Adams can't, fight back with that because he's done his closing argument. And while it's improper, I have learned over the last few years, because I watch a lot of trials, it's possible to, and I really, now that I know this, I wish that Scott Adams had done it just to have it on the record. But I wish he would have objected to Galen Gigger saying that and got that on the record, that basically he lied in his closing argument. It was a flat out lie. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I don't care which side you're on. You have to know and realize that that was a flat out lie. And when he said that, one of the jurors who spoke out later said in a TV interview that was what changed most of the jury's minds, was when Galen Gigger said that in his closing argument. That's bullshit. That thing about the DNA really should have been challenged. Yeah, I didn't even read your comment before. I just said what I said. You're absolutely right. Of course I think you're right, because that's what I think. Let's see. Any person who has been arrested for multiple crimes should not be automatically given the benefit of the doubt on act. I agree. I am not one of these people who believes all women first. I just don't. Not only have, like I said, known women in my life who have lied about these kinds of things, but I've watched enough trials to know, and I've read enough cases to know that women lie. The female gender, the female sex of our species are, some of them are just horrible individuals. No, nobody should be, and not, this whole thing about you should never question a victim. I'm sorry. Society has proven over and over again in the last 2 decades, at least, that, not every victim should be believed, no matter what the crime is. Whoops. Let's see. TJ says, I don't like cops, but they're not all bad. I don't like it when they get accused or framed for something by someone, especially by an authority figure named Kim Davis, turned on one of her own. Why? Yeah. You know what? You're right, TJ. I agree with you. And why? And not just her, but Rocky Gregory and uh, Timothy Musney and all of his superiors. They all turned on Daniel. And for their, when people say, but why would they frame him? I don't have a good answer for that because I don't, there's never been any evidence that I've ever read or seen or heard that there was any corruption going on in Spring Lake or even in the, well, there's corruption, but nothing that I believe Daniel knew about or would have been heard about or anything. So that's why I can only, speculate that it had to do with keeping Oklahoma City's brand new MAPS projects safe and unmolested, so to
I
speak.
think they were worried about that. And my theory right now at this point is like what when Terry Morris got she stated when the police were called on her for another reason, but she said, you called those people, the same people who
Oh yeah,
raped me, and
yeah,
nobody, they didn't send anybody out to you know to address that issue right away like they should have. And so they were worried about that getting out. And then Janie Liggins happened, which that police call had nothing to do with Daniel. But then Janie Liggins happens, and I think that's when, they really decided to go. And it took them all those accusers to find the right one with the
right,
DNA that had the touch DNA.
yeah,
So
yep.
I don't know if I explained that well, but
No, I
that's my
understand.
current theory.
You and I speak the same language, so I don't know about everybody else, but I completely know what you're talking about. Absolutely. And yeah, that makes perfect sense too. That's what it really all comes down to, in my opinion, Cherie. They could not risk this getting out about Terry Morris's alleged rape or assault, which we believe happened what was it, 3 or 4 days earlier. And she says in that 911 call, you hear her saying, you, like Cherie was saying, but she's a very nice girl, and she doesn't use the word as freely as I do. Not that she doesn't, because she does. She's very private about it, but basically Terry Morris literally says, you can hear her screaming in the background when Christopher Shelton called 911 because she was beating him up and freaking out and whatever. And she says, you called the same people, the same motherfuckers that raped me. And Cherie's right. They blew her off with that. They blew her off completely. I think they saw Terry Morris that night. They saw Terry Morris as just another crack whore. Uh, I know that's a harsh word, but I kind of said worse tonight. But another crack whore who's making shit up, and you know, and so they blew her off, and they never investigated it. And until it hit Rocky's desk 3 days later to follow up on, nothing was ever done about it. And he,
And his superiors also, like Ron Basie and them, found out about it, and they were alarmed, if I remember correctly, too.
yeah, yeah. And Rocky Gregory, I'm not giving this fucker any credit whatsoever, but he did. I mean, he has it outlined literally to the minute in his police report for Terry Morris, I think it was. Um, uh, Everything that he did, him and Timothy Musney did together, oddly enough, so oddly, that they, all the different ways they tried to find Terry Morris. And those dates were all before June 18th, when they knew, before anything about Janie Liggins even came out. So they were looking for Terry Morris. So it does imply that several days later, they did try to, locate Terry Morris. And oh my God, it's so easy to get sidetracked in this case. But anyway, yeah, but because they hadn't gone full force and had like a task team out looking for, Terry Morris and this cop, um, you know, yeah, when the Janie Liggins thing happened, Rocky and Kim both, despite what she will lie and say, they right away they were like, oh, well, Terry Morris said she was raped by a cop. It's got to be the same guy. Let's find her and let's. So when you think about it, yes, Janie Liggins started this whole thing, but it all goes back to Terry Morris. So that's a rabbit hole that has to be, dug into to really get the gist of why all of this really started. I can only imagine, Lewis, he says, this is over my head a bit. I don't know what to say or ask, Rhonda, to be honest. You're fine. Listen, it's just better to just listen for now, Lewis, and just learn what we're telling you now. And, as time goes on, you'll get questions and, you have a different legal system in Canada, I think. Maybe not much different, but, some things that you might hear us talk about that you'll say, wait, oh, I hear the puppy. Is that the puppy or is that Rose?
It's Rose.
Oh,
I was
geez.
just gonna say maybe we should do a little overview of what we're talking about here with Terry and Janie Liggins and how that kind of got this ball rolling for people that are new, because it'll be a while before we we
Get
have
back around to
several
it. Yeah.
accusers. So I don't know. It's just an idea.
No, I mean, and that's valid. Right now, all I can do is kind of refer you back to the first maybe 5 or 6 episodes of this particular Inside the Wrongful Conviction of Daniel Holtzclaw series. Because I think when we did start that series inside this one, I think we did kind of try to break it down a little bit then, to try to connect the dots, but it's really hard. It's so much information and which is why I have some modicum of, grace, I guess you would say, for Scott Adams, because now I don't know why or if it's even allowed, but I don't know why Scott Adams didn't call Brian Bates to testify. Here's my thought. Just hear me out on this. First of all, I don't know if it's allowed, but if it isn't, it should be, because Rocky Gregory and Kim Davis were allowed to testify for each and every accuser that they had made contact with, every one of them. So if they're allowed to do that, I don't know why Brian Bates would not have been allowed to testify for Daniel in each of those cases that he had information on. You know what I mean, does that make sense?
Yeah, I never really looked into that, but it would make sense because the police are kind of in the same position. He was just doing it for the defense, but I can't say for sure, but it makes sense.
Yeah, that's something I want to, maybe with all my thousands of other things I want to do, that's something I'm curious about. I'll have to put that into DuckDuckGo and ask how if that's allowed in Oklahoma law. Nancy, it is so great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. I'm always so happy to have you in the chat. Nancy 7 says, I think when we use the expression corrupt, it leaves many thinking it's not possible when the actual term to be used is criminal, as those in power that are corrupt are criminals. That is a very great, valid, and that's a great, valid point. Thank you for saying that. That makes a lot of sense. I think kind of along the same lines. I think the word corrupt is like the word, there's so many words now that are just so overused, they don't have meaning for me anymore. Like um, gaslighting, narcissist, racist, some of these words have no meaning for me anymore because they're so overused. And it makes perfect sense, with your comment. Corruption probably now fits into that too, I believe. And they are criminals. Absolutely. Rick says it's a very interesting study. If you have questions, just ask me. There is a ton of technical jargon in the study. Did you write that down, Cherie? Well, I can ask Rick later.
Yes,
too,
I did.
Okay, because I'm really curious about that. Psychology is, when I was studying criminal justice in college, my favorite courses were like criminology, because we got to study some of the psychology behind criminals, and psychopathy and because those two are so those two, again, kind of words that really they haven't lost their meaning because they'll always mean what they are, but they're so overused and so incorrectly overused so often. And I just find that the psychology of the criminal mind, which I'm not good at. I'm not no profiler, that's for sure. But what basic knowledge I have, or I've learned and I'm still learning, that's the more fascinating part to me about the criminals. So yeah, thank you, Rick. I'll be asking questions. I'm probably going to need a nap today before I go to bed tonight because I didn't sleep much last night. I was so stressed about that video, and I was telling Cherie before we got started that it was so bad that I thought about canceling the transcript and re-recording it, and I just didn't sleep last night. I was so unsatisfied with that, but whatever, it's done. But anyway, so I'm really, I just need a shower and a nap, and then I can, get up and have some tea and toast and go to bed. We'll see what happens. But I'm definitely curious about Rick, I know you know what you're talking about, and I'm not saying nobody else in the chat does, but the interactions that I have had with you over the last month or so, I know you know some shit. I know you know what you're talking about. So anyway, Michael Stetson says, I've had friends who were cops. The job just sucks. Your day typically consists of interacting with the worst of society, and after a while, I think it just gets to you, but it's never an excuse. Oh, I agree. I wouldn't want to be a cop. I just it's got to be one of the most difficult jobs there is. And when you're a cop, especially if you're one of the good cops, which I truly believe most of them are, and you're having to put up with the hatred and the vitriol that they get, no matter what kind of a cop they are, I couldn't do it. My temperament would not handle it. I can't. I am unable to, or unwilling, some might say, to maintain some kind of decent, compassionate, respectful, vocabulary. Because when I hear some of the, I haven't for quite a while, but I used to watch all of the First Amendment audit videos and stuff, and I would be like, man, I'd be telling, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't be a cop and listen to some people, behave and do the things they do and say the things they say. Because I have been accused of, and I know it for a fact, I take things personally sometimes, and I would take everything. I used to work in the state hospital here where I live, the mental hospital, and those stories need to go in my book that I'll probably never write, but in my mind, it's going to be a huge novel. But I'm telling you, you can't work in the state hospital and take things personally. And I didn't, but it was hard to not, when I mean, I went through a couple of really bad situations where I was attacked by a patient on more than one occasion, bitten by a patient, kicked, spit on, and I know that's not the person that's doing those things, that it's their mental illness doing it. But man, when somebody spits on you or bites you or kicks you, it's all of a sudden very personal. So I don't know. Fortunately in the hospital, there was always a way to just walk away from it and let somebody else, handle it or take over. You can't always do that as a cop. So I just could never do it. I don't. But yes, you're right. It's never an excuse. Man, how come I've never, RP, hey, I've believed in him since the beginning, but I also believed in Derek Chauvin, and they railroaded him too. I'm really surprised, I'm not saying this negatively, but I will not very often, because I'm not trying to, insinuate my channel or my case into Robert's chat, but I've done hashtag, free Daniel Holtzclaw, or in this case on my channel, about Daniel. And listen, I know that in other chats and other YouTube channels, people are not paying attention to everything Rhonda is saying. I get that. But I had no idea that's you now, RP, and Rick who've known about this case. But the three of us didn't know that we all knew about this case. Does that make sense? I don't know. Anyway, I would love you guys, and I told Rick this too. Anything that you have to offer or add, or questions, or I already asked, told Rick that someday I'm going to interview him on the channel, about whatever. I don't even know. So, I'm going to put you on that same list, RP, because this is really amazing that you guys know about this. Excuse me. And thank you so much for believing in him. And as far as Derek Chauvin, I've heard that there's new evidence coming out about him. I've always thought that his part of that death was horrific. I read two different what's it called, autopsy reports. I know about all the drugs and all that stuff, and I try not to talk about anything else, any other cases like that. But anyway, I've heard there's new evidence and stuff coming out. I haven't read anything or seen anything, but if I read information and I find documentation, or you guys share it with me, that shows that he was railroaded, then yeah, I'm absolutely going to advocate for him as well. Because that's what I do. That's what Cherie and I do. We advocate for those who have been wrongfully convicted. I'm not saying I'll do a channel on it, but this is my baby right now, is Daniel's case. Lewis says, I get it. I think you mean Rhonda. You're doing the right thing. You're trying to get justice where justice is due. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for saying that, Lewis. Sheila, yeah, this is such a sickening case. It is, yes. I don't even know if sickening is really the right word, because it's just it's an indescribable feeling about, when I think about how I feel about it, Daniel's case. Let's see. You guys are just so amazing. Yeah, bad place for a white person to be in, even back then, and BLM people roaming around downtown. Yeah. Yeah. See, and I don't know if you were here in the chat yet, or if you were lurking, TJ, but I kind of said that, that BLM was cementing their place in Oklahoma City at that time. And just because Kim Davis and Rocky Gregory want to look at each other during an interview and say, no, there was no racial tension, they're both full of shit. Um, um, let's see. RP games. I want to see some kind of proof of residency based on the neighborhood. Yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of going back a little bit, but yeah, that's exactly what Daniel was doing. That's what Daniel has said he was doing. So, and his calls are all there. All of everything's documented via his dispatch calls and everything else. It's all there. But yet she gets up in court and lies about it anyway. And I do know that during the trial, if I'm not mistaken, Sheree might remember better, but she says this whole thing lasted 20 or 30 minutes. I think in trial, she might have even said longer than 30 minutes. He wasn't even there that long. So, and, even
I'm
even
not
in
sure.
even in the preliminary that we just listened to, she said that the oral sex lasted about 10 minutes and then the rape itself lasted about 10 minutes. He wasn't there that long. So now I get it. Time perception is different for every single person. It's all perspective, but still, I don't know. Um, let's see. I know this probably goes back to, yes, she was there to transfer somebody or something, not part of the local law enforcement in that case. Ugh. Kim Davis, I'm sure he's talking about. I've probably forgotten more about DNA than anybody in the Oklahoma DA's office has ever known. Oh, I don't listen. We have learned, well, you might know more than even we do. And I would love to know. Cherie, am I right when I say we would love to know what RP knows about the DNA and OK? Because we learned some stuff too that's not necessarily publicly known.
I don't
So
know what RP knows, but I don't know very much. I know that.
yeah, but we want to know whatever he knows, right?
Right.
Yeah, we know about, and not that this is all there is, because I know that there's something else that we've learned, and I don't remember what documentation it's in, but way back with, RP is going to probably know this, and for whatever the reason is, Joyce Gilchrist, way back to Joyce Gilchrist and Bob Macy, we know there was some serious DNA issues in that office. Joffrey, are there more cases with Kim Doofus solved like this one? I love that, Kim Doofus. That's good. I like that one too. That's a great new name for her. Yes. Well, I looked for a little while, a couple of years ago. She's been involved in several of these kinds of assault cases. That's according to her, she loves a good rape case. She's so sick. But oh gosh, I'm trying to think of the names. She investigated at least 2 others who were convicted of rape and or sexual assaults whose convictions are questionable. And for the life of me, I can't remember right now who they are. But I actually got the address of one of the guys who's in prison. I got his inmate number and everything, and I was going to write to him. And I kind of wish I had, but I kind of am glad I didn't, because I would have gotten, I would have gotten wrapped up in another case that I just don't have time for. But that's really sad, because if he truly is innocent, that's why innocent men and women are sitting in prison, because people don't have time to get wrapped up in another wrongful conviction case. So, which says to me there's a big fucking problem. Oh gosh, yes, RP, I want to know more. I need to know more. I don't know if you're in Richard's Discord or not, but if you are, hit me up or DM me or something. I want to know what you know. Let's see. RP says they probably turned on him because Zimmerman was acquitted the year before and they wanted a white man found. Yeah. Oh, yeah. there's definitely very strong speculation on my part about that too. Um, Sheila says, "Yes, I wonder about her track record, Joffrey." Yeah, there's a track record, and not to. I'm sure you guys are probably. God, I'm going on 3 hours now, and I try to keep it to less than 2. But anyway, I have to say that based on this question, Sheila, it's been a long, long time since we've talked about this, but Kim Davis's original partner, his name was Butch McKenna, if I'm not mistaken, and they were in trial for one of the men that I was talking about, that Kim Davis, whose case Kim Davis was a part of. I'll have to look up Butch McKenna in the newspapers and stuff to find out what the defendant's name was. But anyway, Butch McKenna was set to testify one morning of this trial, and that morning before he was set to testify, he committed suicide in their office. And I don't know. I wanted to know, and this was the young man whose name I looked up and who I believe I had his inmate number and I was going to write to, but it's pure speculation again on my part. I just have to say that, but I had to wonder, was it just not just the case that they were in trial for, but was it just too much? I mean, again, there's a million reasons why being a cop is tough, or a detective or investigator. But the morning he's set to testify, he takes his life. Was there some part that perhaps he didn't want to testify because it was possibly going to be untruthful and he didn't want to be a part of sending somebody to prison? I don't know. Again, 100% speculation. But when I learned about that, it drove me crazy. And that's when I started digging into that particular defendant, whatever his name was. I'll find it now because I need to remember. But anyway, her track record, from what I understand, has not been very good. And like TJ is saying in the chat with his comments, and another comment that we saw in a YouTube video several years ago where somebody talked about having known Kim Davis well in high school, I think it was. She's got problems. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this person on the YouTube comment section implied that she has issues with men, like a man hater or whatever you want to call it. So I don't know. That's just, I don't know. Nan's Life says, "Hey, I don't recall I've been listening, but prepping dinner, so the headphones are on, but was away from the computer." Oh, that's okay. RP says, Rhonda is so nice about her language on stream. She clearly never heard me going off on Tipsy Tuesday. Well, listen, I don't even like swearing on this channel, but mostly because I don't want to offend Daniel's family, especially his mom. But I have, come to know that she's not offended by it necessarily. But I do try to be, a little more respectful if I can. But sometimes I just can't help it. I have to know. I mean, I have to say the things that are, sometimes the swear words just make me feel better. I don't care what anybody else says. But yeah, Tipsy Tuesday, I'm interested in that. But when I'm like in Richard's chat and stuff like that, or Rumble, yeah, I let my swear flag fly for sure. Um, Rhonda, I just DM'd you that. Oh, you're so awesome. Thank you so much, Rick. I appreciate that. I will definitely be opening that after my shower and my nap. Thank you for doing that, Sri. That's the first, that link is to the very first episode of this series that we're doing. So if you haven't already, check that out. RP says, I know that link isn't a link from me, but that's a lot of info about Daniel's case. I'm not sure what link you're talking about, RP. Joffrey says Derek Chauvin is innocent too. Okay, I'll look into it for sure. For sure. I watched the whole trial, so the DA lied, and a fentanyl overdose of Floyd. Okay, I read the two autopsy reports from the county, and also from, I guess, his family hired somebody to do their own autopsy. So, yeah, I forgot. Okay, I was like, what link? I don't know what link you're talking about. If you want to put it, I don't know if you're in Discord or not, RP. If you are, just send me a DM with the link or something. I'm curious. I instead posted the link, to my Discord. There's a massive page. Oh, at Uncuff the Innocent for Daniel. Yeah, I know. Rick. I know, RP. Rick knows too. We all know, but we all didn't know we all knew. Yeah, I know. I've been worked quite closely with some of those folks, or one of those folks, I guess I should say, for Uncuff the Innocent. So yeah. Thank you, though. I appreciate that. I absolutely going to check it out. Yeah, I know, on your own chat. Yeah, I know. I get it. It's frustrating when you have something that you want so badly to share, a link for, but you can't. It's frustrating. Listen, Rick and RP, both of you, you're, if you keep coming with the information and facts as I know them to be, I don't know. I could make it happen that you could post links. So we'll see. We'll see. But I believe you guys both know what you're talking about for sure. Most DAs don't know much about DNA, and they usually just read up on what the case requires for their questions. When I was at Pinkerton, I had to take a 4-month course on evidence collection. You're right. You're absolutely right. And I 100% believe and know that. I will tell you, though, RP, I don't know how familiar you are with the civil suit that the accusers brought against Daniel. But for a very short time, Kathleen Zellner, and I don't know, I'm sure you guys are familiar with who she is, but she was involved in taking some of the depositions for Daniel's case in the civil suit. And I'm telling you something, not that she's not a prosecutor or a DA, but she is one attorney that knows her shit, a lot of shit about DNA. The job she does on Elaine Taylor, I wish I could talk more about it or share more about it during the deposition. Was phenomenal. So when that time comes that I'm able to share any of that, how can I, Cherie, describe it better? How well she did with Elaine Taylor. If you're not asleep, I might have put her to sleep. Anyway, well, let's see. Well, thank you, Joffrey. I appreciate that. It's a good 3 hours, though. Good information and discussion. I really appreciate that because I know I just get all sorts of twisted, and so I forget to look at the time up in that left-hand corner. So I appreciate that it's been informative for everybody. Are you still with me, Cherie? Okay, I might, yeah. Or she doesn't know she's muted and she thinks I can hear her.
No, I'm back. I had stepped away to get a sweater because I'm cold.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I was just talking about Kathleen Zellner and how well RP had mentioned something about, DAs not knowing very much about DNA evidence. They only study up for, the questions that they're going to ask in any given case. And I agreed with him that that's, I believe that. And, but I mentioned that even though Kathleen Zellner is not a DA or prosecutor, she knows her shit about DNA, and that she pretty much decimated Elaine Taylor during the deposition.
Yeah, she was awesome. An awesome questioner.
Yeah.
Cross-examiner, I guess that's the word.
Yeah.
Her sidekick, her partner, Doug Johnson, was awesome too.
Yeah, he did pretty good too.
He didn't do DNA, but he was a good cross-examiner.
Yeah, he did really good too. The day will come, I'm sure, once, hopefully, again, because of the post-conviction case, we can't, talk about very much of that stuff. But when we do get the opportunity, no, go ahead.
Didn't you make a short video? Was it Tabitha Barnes? Who was it that she questioned?
Yes.
She might have questioned somebody, and you made a little short.
Well,
we should show that.
Well, if you, I can, or I could, we could also just put that. It's just it was the one that we made before. I mean, we had approval from his attorney at the time, and from the family. But there is 2 depositions that we were able that I made some video clips for the media to use. Gosh, it's been a couple of years ago now. I don't know if anybody is, if you guys are interested, we'll find that real quick. They're only, one of them is about 8 minutes long and the other one's, 5 minutes long, maybe.
You don't have to do it now, but if they want it, sure.
Yeah, if they're interested, if anybody in the chat's interested in watching those, we'd be happy to, show it to you guys. I'm very proud of them because I made them. So, of course, I'm, not by myself. I had, instruction and things from, the team of what they wanted it to look like. But I was very proud of how they turned out. So if you guys are interested, we can show those to you. They're not very long, and then we can just wrap up after that. But they are clips from depositions. So let me see.
I don't know where they are. Do you?
Oh yeah, they're just in my videos. I'm just not very quick at looking for that stuff. I'm pretty slow. So let's see if they're in this. I know that they're probably in the playlists. Let me try it that way. I have a playlist for there's Tabitha's. Okay, let's do this one first. Hold on. I have to do it this way. Stop. Ah. Okay, let's here we go. For any of you that are fine to stick around and watch this. Let me, oh my goodness, I have so many windows open. I just thought I could probably have. Okay, here we go.
How many times did Holtzclaw touch you inappropriately?
He didn't touch me.
He never touched you?
No.
Next to the third to the last line says, Holtzclaw then asked Plaintiff Barnes if there was anything under her breast and fondled Plaintiff Barnes's naked breast. Do you see that?
You just read it. Yes, I see it, sir.
Isn't that different than what you testified today?
What do you mean is that different?
Didn't you say Holtzclaw didn't touch you?
He didn't touch me.
So this is a mistake.
He did not touch me.
Okay, and if you go back to Defendant's Exhibit number 11, which is the information, count 1.
Go ahead.
5 lines from the bottom of count 1, directing TB to expose her breast and then touching her bare breast with his hand without her consent. That's also a mistake.
He didn't touch me.
Okay. And you understand that Mr. Holtzclaw was convicted of sexual battery on that count as a result of your testimony?
Yes.
So that would have been a lie?
What would have been a lie?
The fact that he was charged with touching you.
I don't know what he was charged with. I know he was charged with 3 counts of me exposing myself.
Okay.
Just one further question, Ms. Barnes. You would agree, would you not, that you have to be 100% truthful about what you've told us today for you to prevail in your lawsuit?
Yes.
Okay, and you've been 100% truthful with us today about everything that you claimed?
Yeah,
you haven't lied to us, right?
No. Everything that I remember is what I remember. That's what I'm telling you.
Okay, what's happening here? Oh, I don't know what this is. Oh, I think it went into the next video. Sorry about that. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, at the end, that last question was from KZ. Yes. Yeah, I'm behind on comments in the chat. I'm really sorry. Anyway, so I made that because they were, so even though it wasn't going to be much, Daniel was up for parole on that particular charge, on that particular accuser. And in her, so the first woman that comes on who's speaking, she is the attorney for one of the parties in the civil suit. Amber Gooch was her name. Then the man is, his name's Richard Smith. I like to call him Dick Smith because he is. But he was the attorney representing Oklahoma City. And it's weird because that kind of showed proof that she lied about that Daniel had touched her, because he got 8 years for that particular count, or 5 years for that particular charge, for Tabitha Barnes. And it was just, it was just infuriating, because so many times you go back into her series. I do have her series in a playlist. I don't know why, but I don't have the playlist set up yet for Sherry Ellis. I need to get that set up because it's a really good series on her too. But anyway, so Dick Smith, even though he's working against Daniel, he still has to represent the city. And if she's lying in any part of her testimony about anything, no matter if it helps Daniel or not, he wants to bring that out. Because she very clearly says many times in her interviews with Rocky Gregory and during trial that he touched her breasts with his hands. Yet she goes into her civil suit deposition and says 5 different times, he didn't touch me. So at the end, Kathleen Zellner comes in and says, you have to be truthful, right? And she's like, yes. Well, Tabitha Barnes is one of the most horrible accusers in this case. So for whatever reason, I can't put my hands on the one with
I put Sherry's in the chat, in our private chat here.
Chat. Oh, okay. Awesome.
Either that or it's in the Discord. I can't remember. I think it's in the Discord. Sorry.
Oh,
private
okay.
Chat.
Okay, yeah, the Discord. Okay. Let me grab that. Is that the one? Because that's what I thought it was, but then it didn't look like it. But it's got to be. Okay, it is. Let me get this copy and paste it over to this other place. Which
I don't think Sherry, or that KZ questioned Sherry, but I'm not sure. So.
She didn't, but
it's so good.
Yeah,
it's telling to listen to it.
Yeah, for sure. So, okay, let me share this one. And then you guys, I promise, I know there are so many great comments in the chat, and I want to get to all of them, but I've never had so much engagement in any of our chats before. And so I'm like really, I don't want to say overwhelmed, but I don't want to keep you guys here any longer, but I will go back through and read these comments. I promise you today.
RP Games said Dick Smith is required by law to notify the court if the conviction was obtained falsely.
Oh yeah, Dick Smith doesn't work for Oklahoma City. He retired pretty much right after, almost right after.
Then, though.
I know he should have.
Yeah, I know.
No, I don't know if he retired. But he left Oklahoma City and moved back to Midwest somewhere. So I don't know where. I can't remember, but I couldn't give two shits less. He was just as evil as everybody else, in my opinion. Okay, so here we go. This one's a little bit longer, but it's very, very interesting.
Is this Sherry? Yes. Sherry, this is Detective Davis. Yes, ma'am. Okay. You sound frantic in your messages. Oh yeah, because I don't know what's going on. It's okay. That's why I've been wanting to find you and just ask you something. Okay. Okay. I have received a tip on. I work in sex crimes, and I've been working some cases, and I received a tip that you may have been sexually assaulted by a police officer. Yes, I have. but I didn't say anything because I know that I know police department and police they all stick together. Well, we ain't sticking together on this one. Oh, okay. So I would like to interview you. I didn't ever get his badge number. I don't know anything. I was terrified. I just didn't know what was going on because he said I'll do that, or he was going. I don't know. I didn't know whether if I still did it, or is he gonna take me to jail or what. He was a black man. Okay. He was in a black and white police car.
Sherry, I believe you. If I didn't believe you, I wouldn't have been calling you, trying to find you. Okay. Let me ask you this. Tell me your description of him.
He's black.
Okay. He's black male.
Muscular.
How tall could you tell? You're pretty tall. How tall are you? How tall are you?
5'11".
Is he taller than you or shorter than you?
Like right here, maybe like that.
So you think he's shorter than you?
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of car did he have?
A black and white one.
Black and white car?
Oklahoma City police car.
Well, let me tell you this. I want to get a DNA sample from you today. And the reason I want to get a DNA sample is because I know what officer did this to you. Okay? And there is some unknown female DNA on his pants that I took. And I want to see if it's yours. This is a waiver saying that you are going to let me, Kim Davis, and I'm a detective, and this is where we're located, are going to let me take buccal swabs. It's just Q-tips on the inside of your mouth to get a DNA sample so I can compare it to the DNA on his pants. Okay?
Yes,
One more question. When you described him as a black male, what, and I don't know, everybody's like, are you? Are you a medium color? What's your skin tone to you?
I'm white.
You're like, okay, what was he?
He's darker.
He's darker than you? Darker than your skin tone? Okay.
Okay, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You state your full legal name?
Sherry Louise Michelle Smith.
Who contacted you?
Kim Davis.
Detective Davis?
Yes.
Okay. And where did she call you on the phone, or did she meet you in person?
She called me on the phone.
Okay. And what did you tell her on the phone?
She asked me if I had any she asked me if I had any problems with the police officer, and I told her yes.
Did you meet her in person after the phone call?
Yes, sir.
And where did that meeting take place?
The DA's in that building next to the courthouse.
Okay. How tall are you?
5'11".
5'11". All right. And do you recall explaining to Miss Davis how tall this officer was that assaulted you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And I'm going to hand you another exhibit. We marked it as exhibit number 4. That's a video still of you explaining to the officer how tall the person was that assaulted you. Do you recognize yourself in that image?
Yes, sir.
Is that you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now, how tall did you tell was the person that assaulted you?
I don't recall how tall I said he was, but I did say that he was shorter than I was.
Okay. And we say shorter than you by about how much? I mean, in that image, it looks like you're holding your hand up maybe to your shoulders.
Yeah.
So he came up to about your shoulders.
Yeah.
So maybe what, 5'5", 5'6".
Yes.
A shorter man.
Yes, sir.
And how else would you physically describe the officer, other than by height?
I had said that he was black. He was dark complected. I think black. That's what I said.
I'm marking this plaintiff's exhibit A. I have a copy for you here. Miss Alice, do you recognize this individual?
Yes, I do.
Okay. How do you recognize that person?
From court.
Okay. Do you recognize that person from any other time in your life?
No.
At the time you were at trial, did you believe you had seen that individual before?
No. I've seen him. During trial, that's when I seen him.
Okay. Had you had any previous interactions with that man to your knowledge?
Not to my knowledge. Besides him.
What do you mean?
It's besides, you know, I have never seen him but before trial. That's when I finally seen who accused of raping me.
It takes my breath away. It makes me so sick.
Yeah, especially when you see him at the end. Makes you, it's really, really sad. It's more than sad.
Yeah, I like you, Shri. I don't. There's not a word. I don't know of a word. Sorry, that makes me really emotional. I don't. There's really not anything else I can say about that. That was shown to the media, and I don't know, man. It's just that alone, and with Tabitha Barnes' video that was also shown to the media.
Did they show them on the news? At least one of them they did, or did they show both of them?
I believe they showed them both. Well, I know for sure they showed Tabitha Barnes because that's the reason that we made both of those.
Okay.
And just so you guys know, when I made those clips, I didn't just type what I thought I was hearing in the subtitles. I took it directly from the, I copy and pasted it directly from the deposition transcripts. Yeah, sorry. Now I'm just all, oh God, my heart is so heavy right now. There's a sensitive side to me, guys. I know I come off and try to come off or sound like I'm some kind of a hard ass, and I think I am. I mean, I really am. But, you know, or I at least speak my mind and share my opinions, no matter how, what others think, because I really don't care. But I'm also a very compassionate and caring and person, and seeing that video again, I haven't watched it probably in a year. Seeing that again just makes me physically sick to my stomach. And I don't know how anybody else feels having watched that, or if you've watched that for the first time. But, oh, man.
Nan's wife said, I think the witness seemed upset at the deposition. And like she previously said in a telephone call with Kim, police worked together. And I think Depo witness realized she was right all along. Could be.
Yeah. I felt after watching that, I felt like Sherry Ellis realized, if she hadn't before, in those moments, Sherry Ellis realized she was part of accusing the wrong man of raping and sexually assaulting her. And I feel like she was feeling real remorse and guilt in those moments. She still hasn't come through to, publicly, say anything like that. But yeah, it is. Yeah, Joffrey, it really does get to me. Obviously. So I think I have a very strong opinion of who Sherry Ellis is talking about, because I believe she was raped by a black cop. I really do. And I have a very strong opinion of who that cop was. But I know for sure, there is no doubt in my mind, hand to God, it was not Daniel. I mean, just by the description alone, we know it wasn't Daniel. And we went, when we were in Oklahoma City, we went to the area, the exact spot where she claims it happened. We measured the curb, because at some point further, she says that she thinks the reason that she thought he was taller or was shorter was because she was standing on the curb and he was standing in the street. So we're talking about what, 6-inch curb at minimum, right? We went and we literally measured that curb where she claims that happened. And that curb was it wasn't even a curb. It was a piece of, cement that was about 3 inches, off of the street to the top of that. It's just, yeah, I definitely need to end here, because I feel like I've talked about a lot of stuff, and I have been so amazed at all the comments and things and questions in this chat. You guys have been amazing, and you've really, despite my feelings at this very moment, you've really, it's been very encouraging to have so much engagement from all of you guys, and to learn that some of you know so much more about the case. It gives me some hope that, we can bring in more people now. Listen, I'm not asking you guys to get as involved in this as we are, because we're pretty deep into it. We have a lot of information that nobody else has, and that's why we're doing this. And I'll keep covering each one of these accusers over and over and over again. I won't stop doing and sharing the same stuff over and over and over again for as long as it takes until we get justice for Daniel, because he does not belong in prison. And when some people say, well, I don't think he's guilty of all of it, but I think he might have done some of it, he didn't do any of it. I promise you. And I knew this in my heart and in my gut and in my mind. I knew Daniel was innocent before I ever got to know Daniel or talk to Daniel or correspond with Daniel. And then once I got to that point, I just know from talking to him and writing back and forth. I know that Daniel is completely 100% innocent of every single accusation made against him. And I don't know. People make the comment, well, would you want this rapist to come and, live in your home or be around your grandkids? Yes, I would. I would absolutely welcome Daniel into my home and around my grandkids, because I know he is none of what these people have accused him of. That's all I can really say. Let me just grab this last question by Nan's Life really quick, and then I think we're going to end it because I'll talk about it for hours and hours if I'm allowed to. So Nan's Life says, how could Kim look past that? The witness said it was darker skinned black cop. She was honed in on Daniel and totally dismissed the witness or the victim, what the victim was saying. Yes, absolutely. She helped her come up with a story. And Kim Davis and Rocky Gregory are two of the most evil people in law enforcement I've ever heard of. I know there's a lot out there who are equally, maybe you could say, but maybe it's just because I'm so close to this case. They are two of the worst in my mind. So I'm going to wrap this up. Cherie, do you have any other comments that you would like to make?
No, just thank you everybody for hanging out with us and have, we had a good discussion and I learned things too. So hope to engage with you next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I hope everyone that's here comes back next week. We're going to start trial transcripts next week. Rosetta Grate's trial will go on for several weeks because there's a lot of witnesses. And we'll wrap up her series of trial transcripts with Kim Davis testifying on behalf of Rosetta Grate, which is just disgusting. But anyway, so there is a lot of transcript to go through, to read through. We're not going to be able to do it in 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 weeks. So hopefully everybody is curious enough to stick with us as we get through the trial with Rosetta Grate. Yeah, I agree with what Cherie said. I hope that all of you will be able to join us again next week as we start the trial for Rosetta Grate's case. In the meantime, please, catch up as much as you can, as much time as you have to. Fortunately, most of our stuff is stuff you can just stick your headphones in and listen. You don't have to really, there's not always a lot of visuals. So, you can just put your headphones in and listen to it like a podcast. And, even if you can do that much, we greatly appreciate it. I'll end with this. We have not come up yet with a good idea for how to reward those of you who have memberships and those of you who have maintained your memberships, even though there's been a couple of months of nothing from us. You guys have maintained your memberships, and I really appreciate that. I invite you, if you're interested, to join, become a member of the channel. And Cherie and I, we are trying to come up with some ideas for, some member-only videos and things like that you might be interesting to you. All around Daniel's case, of course. I will read through the rest of the comments. RP, Rick, I am pleasantly surprised at how much you guys know about Daniel's case. And I really appreciate your contributions as well, and everybody else in the chat. Liam, you're always, quick with comic relief, which is so necessary. TJ, I love seeing it when you're able to make it into the chat. So thank you so much, Nan's Life. You're still taking an interest in Daniel's case, and I greatly appreciate that. All of you, everyone, Sheila, Under Your Scars, Joffrey. I'm so grateful to all of you guys for sticking with us, even through some dry times when we're not really doing much. So I committed to Cherie that I'm going to work much, much harder at making sure that our content is consistent and weekly, even if it's not, following along with whatever we did the week before. If we have to, break from something for some reason and do something different, we will be putting something out every Sunday afternoon for you guys. If you have it, like I said, if you're a member or you would like to become a member and you have ideas of what you would like to see as a membership reward, please let us know either in the comments section, or you can, reach us on the Discord channel as well. And, we're open to any and all suggestions. So with that, we're going to say good night. Thank you for sticking with us for almost 4 hours. I haven't done a podcast this long, and I don't know how long. So thank you so much for sticking with us as long as you did today. And until next time, peace out.